What's up, SMR people? We're back. We're recapping the final round of the 2023 AMA Supermoto Series. This one's coming to you from Tucson, Arizona at the Musselmen Honda circuit. We got the boys, Johnny Bang and Simp and Sam.
Heyo.
Yo.
And for this one, we got a heavy hitter, jack of all trades. Andy Dibrino's on the call with us.
Fired up.
So, guys, going into this one, me and Nick are pretty tight in points. We're 12 points apart, but this one was double points and stuff. So if I did happen to go 1-1, I had a chance of getting the title, which I really wanted to try to beat Nick out for it, but I knew it was going to be a bit of a tall task. I got pole position by 1/10 of a second over him. Andy, you were only 3/10 off me for pole, and Bronson was about a second. I botched that start, boys.
Yeah, being final round, a double point round. How often do they do that? Have you guys ever had a double point round for a final round besides like COVID years?
Yeah, I mean, once in a while you see series do it.
I had that happen with a hooligan championship where I came into the last round third and won the title by 1 point because it was double points.
No
my
way.
gosh.
And that was for a $50,000 Indian FTR 750 flat track bike.
Oh, yeah. So was that the first year of the Super Hooligans?
Yeah, that was 2017.
That was when you started your reign of dominance?
For a couple of years there, we went back to back.
No big deal.
The 2-time. That was a good pass.
How close did it feel like my rear front end was to my rear wheel right there?
Oh no, that didn't feel that. I mean, I saw that kind of coming, and then I kind of put that in my back pocket for later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard because you want to protect the inside, but the inside, it was so hard to carry good speed through it.
Oh yeah, the exit was just fluff.
Yep.
I think this is the most traction I've seen at Tucson.
I agree.
On the asphalt,
but
for sure.
The seams themselves were like slick, and this corner that we're coming up into now, right as you would really want to pivot, it got super slick. But I agree, there was a lot more traction this year than we have had in past years.
This is also the first race I went to the Dunlops too.
Oh, Bridgestone, Sippy.
Oh, sorry, Bridgestone. My bad.
Dude,
Yeah,
the way
Andy,
you take
what
that
tires
corner-
were you on?
I was on Bridgestones. I
Okay.
wanted to run Metzlers, but there weren't any available.
Yeah, I got one of the last sets.
Actually, I was on a Metzler front, Bridgestone rear.
Man, I maybe should have run it in on Nick on that corner. Just tried to show him a wheel. See if I could have tightened him up.
So, if you would have went 1-1 and Nick went, like, what would have been the what was the difference?
Yeah. So if I gone 1-1, Nick went 2-2, he would win the title on a tie break because he had one more win than me and stuff. So I needed Andy or someone to get between Nick and me in at least one moto, really, to have a chance at the title. So I knew it was a bit of a long shot.
You think,
But Nick, go ahead.
you think without all the rain races we had, you think you would have had a better outcome?
I
That
mean,
was
if I hadn't torn my knee in the beginning of the season, like torn my MCL in Colorado, it might have been a little closer, I think, to be able to make him fight for it more often and stuff, instead of giving him so many easy wins in the beginning of the year. Stuff, but I mean, Nick picked up the pace huge. It wasn't until last year when he went to Europe that like he finally beat me. Oh, I did show him a wheel there a little bit. Okay. But this year he was just definitely, and we had just got back from doing Supermoto Nations together, so there was kind of like this, I don't know, like we had been riding together so much that I feel like we were just like, it's like we were just doing practice moto, getting ready for Supermoto Nations this race, where we were just like pushing, chasing each other down, and he had pace on me on the asphalt, and I had pace on the dirt and stuff, and it was just this yo-yo. I'd come out of the dirt section, ride on his ass, and then he'd slowly walk me on the asphalt.
Andy, you sure use the whole track.
Yeah, that's the road racer in me. Yeah, I definitely, like, I felt like there was a couple spots I'd kind of yo-yo with you guys, but definitely, like, this part of the track, letters are just, you had me covered there, but it's tough. I feel like maybe the next race, I can't remember, like, we're just faster at different parts of the track and never put me in a position to really try to make any pass attempt.
And I think that's partly what I love about Supermoto.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of, later on this moto, I fall way off because my hands fall asleep. So at this point, I'm pretty much like, yep, I'm going to be third place this race.
Have you been riding much Supermoto this year? I know you haven't came to any of the other AMAs, but have you been doing stuff locally?
So, yeah, I got this bike end of July. I did a Cascadia race in August, and then I rode it a couple times at my local go-kart track. And then did Moto Beach Classic, which was just like a little asphalt oval. And then I think I rode once or twice down in SoCal before this event. So yeah, I got some riding in, like way more than I've ridden in years.
Nice.
Yeah, I was pumped. Like, I got my suspension done by Race Tech, and that helped the bike a lot.
Yeah, you did a spring conversion up front, didn't you?
Yeah, I got the K-Tech conversion in there, which the K-Tech is really similar to the Race Tech internal. So, like, I did the conversion and then rode it for a race, like, locally, and then I sent everything off to Race Tech for, like, the full revalve and spring change and whatnot, and that helped out so much.
Nice. Yeah, so, like, the top three of us are all on Race Tech. We're all on Gold Valve.
Yeah, I seen that, and they used to do my stuff, like, back in, like, the 2010s, early 2010s, and then Supermoto was kind of like the main thing I did. So I know they've always done good stuff, but yeah, I told them, I'm like, I wanted Nicky Reimer and Sean Butterman set up. So
Nick just clocked his fastest lap of the race, and it's actually the only time a sub 120 gets done on the track, and you get a 19.9.
So I'm noticing
a little gap on him.
I'm noticing Andy's looking ahead is like, I don't know. He does it more than I've seen anyone else do it.
Yeah, like his head's very with it.
Yeah, it's funny, my riding style, like, I'm still trying to rework it because flat track really screwed it up for me. Like, when I came back, I just hated the way I looked because the way I was, like, angling my foot. So I'm, like, trying to kind of adopt a little bit more of a, you know, S1 GP style of riding.
Yeah.
After seeing, like, Lucas and even you guys, what you guys are doing nowadays. But yeah, if, like, looking back at stuff when I did the finale of AMA in 2021, like, my body positioning, I hated it. And I'm still trying to
you get your knee, like, all out there and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, like, it looks nothing like how I used to ride Supermoto, like, when I actually did it.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, I think that's, like, just, like, that's, like, the evolution that we have as motorcycle racers, you know, is just that constant learning curve of how to, like, properly or to execute the speeds that we want to do, you know?
Yeah. Like, I feel like I like how that, like, Euro style body positioning feels like on the exit of corners, but, like, going into a corner and not putting a foot out, like, I don't trust that fully yet. I'm still, like, getting that dialed in, and it's like, you'd think a road racer like me that not putting the foot
that
out,
wouldn't be
just
that
leaning
far,
would be. Yeah, exactly. But it is. It's when you're on a dirt bike, your brain just thinks differently.
Dude, how sketchy was this corner right there? That clump, how we were blowing that apart, and it would just put
I
you
hated
over the
that.
top of the berm.
Yeah, I feel like you guys are definitely coming into that with more entry speed than I was. I wasn't a big fan of that. If it was a left-hand turn, I would be ripping that thing, but I need to work on my rights.
Yeah, Butter's just carrying very. I think that's your strong point, is that your corner speed through the dirt.
Yeah. Yeah, for
This
sure.
last
And
this last year was like I only rode motocross twice, like the least amount of moto I've done in
really,
years. Yeah.
Dude, I was struggling so much in the 450 motos. It was so hot out there, and I was just running lights.
yeah, you just come off the lights class, and yeah, you were a little off the pace. You went
Oh, yeah.
slower in this race than you did in qualifying.
Yeah. No, I was dying.
Dude, entering this section, that inside right there, oh, that was so good. You carry so much speed
That's
there.
That's a fun section.
Yeah, it is.
Is Bronson still out there right now? Oh, yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
I think I just saw him. Yeah, and he's on old Jeffrey's bike.
I
Yeah.
think scoring
Fuck,
is wrong.
yeah.
I think his transponder's messing up.
Yeah, it shows him last.
Get it together,
What lap are we on
AMA.
right now?
We're on about, I don't know. I
That'd
want
be
to say we're on
lap
lap 8 or
9.
so.
Yep. Hands are getting numb. It's hard to feel the brakes. It's so sketchy in the dirt. I'm just like, don't stall it or tuck the front.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty wild looking through the lap times here. Me and Nick, after lap 1, we just did 120s the whole moto, except for that 119 he did.
Yeah, you guys had a really, really good intense pace the whole race.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to. I knew I was like, if I can't beat him, like, I'm done. And so I never gave up, but he had good pace on me on the asphalt, and there's really nothing I could do about it. Every time I get to the dirt section here, I'd be like, all right, head down, let's go. And I just push. And on the asphalt, I just try to be as smooth as possible, carry as much roll speed, not upset the chassis, and just try to be as smooth and fast as I could and execute my turn-ins and try to late apex as much as I could in the corners that really required it. But
So
I think that
I'm curious, like what's really the difference between your guys' bikes? Like, is there any engine differences? Like, I'm assuming Nicky's got a built motor. I'm on a stock motor.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I got an ECU on my bike, so stock internals. Or no, I got a high compression piston, but other than that, stock top end, ECU, and then race tech suspension. I'm on a full SXF KTM, so I got full length suspension, moto suspension. Nick's on pretty much an MTR setup. He has the MTR swing arm, MTR fork lugs. I think the races, he might be on different races as well, but his bike is pretty much set up how Hallbacher's was and stuff.
Interesting.
He's on race tech internals, but pretty much the rest of his bike is set up. And then I'm not sure exactly how much motor work he does. His dad does. I know they do a pretty conservative, safe build, but it's definitely a fast bike.
Yeah, I feel like this track motor is really important. Like, I was riding the night before this. I did that asphalt only race with spacing out his name. Is it Gio? The kid who won the asphalt
Gio
championship.
Bravado?
Yeah, dude, his
Bravado,
Honda was a missile. I mean, that thing, coming off.
Well, he
this
was on a
corner,
Gaza spec.
Yeah, coming off this corner, dude, he just take me straight to Gapplebee's every time.
Straight to Gapplebee's.
Yeah, dude.
So good.
I'd like to do some work to my bike for some races this year, and I definitely want to get some more horsepower out of it, do something to it. And I really wish I was on an SXF, but I'm on an SMR.
Do you have a plan on what rounds you want to do or what races you want to hit?
That just depends on what the schedule is. I haven't seen any schedule yet, but right now my plans for this year so far is just the Super Hooligan Championship, which is 5 rounds. The first one's beginning of March at Daytona, and then the next round is up in Washington towards end of June, and then early July, Laguna Seca in California, and then August is Mid Ohio, and then early
Okay, so that's
September.
road race hooligans, right?
Yeah, and then early
Okay.
September's Circuit of the Americas. So there's lots of gaps in there. I'm sure we could fit maybe a whole AMA series in there.
Yeah. That's pretty
Kind of
sick.
want to just get back to just having some fun, you know?
Right.
Not that road racing's not fun, but like I just had so much fun coming out to this event as well as when I did 2 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's what always keeps me coming back to Supermoto is just how fun it is. There's
Yeah,
nothing
super
else like
fun,
it.
and I like Alex a lot. I think he does a good job in, you know, keeping this going. And
We had Buffum
So you
and Pecoraro there fighting. Those two were kind of in it for the points too, to go for third overall in the championship.
So you mentioned you'd rather have the SXF over the SMR. Why is that?
I mean, I guess where I want to end up is more so like an MTR spec type bike, you know?
Like
Seems
fully
like
build
that's-
it out yourself.
Yeah, I'd like to fully build it out.
Yeah, I think the SMR is just it's so cool that you can buy that good of a bike stock from the showroom, but it is lacking like the width that KTM chose on the clamps. From what I hear, so motocross offset is 190 millimeters between the fork legs and stuff, and then you go to a Supermoto. A lot of times, companies will build a 200 mil wide just so the front tire doesn't rub on the edge of the fork tubes. So, but then with that, you got a spacer for your rotor, you got spacers for your wheel, you got longer axles to make, and it adds cost to the bike. And then KTM, when they did their SMR, or the Husky FS, they went with like, I want to say 208. They went really wide on it.
Yeah, I think it's
And-
210. You might
Yeah, from
actually
what I
be
hear,
right.
it makes too much flex, and it
Mm.
creates an instability in the chassis. And then you also have the bikes shortened like an inch. And I'm dragging my pegs nonstop with full length bike that's quite stiff. So I can imagine how easy it is to just be constantly dragging your pegs and scraping. Even I've seen the frame rails get scraped on the FSs and the SMRs.
Damn. Yeah, when I got, so that was like the main thing why I sent my stuff to Race Tech, is I'm like, all right, I need some more travel, and they were able, so there's like some sort of space, there's something internally in the shock that KTM and, you know, Husqvarna do to have a lower ride height shock, and basically taking that out, you know, I think it gives you an SXF length shock, but for whatever reason, it will not bolt onto my bike. I had to put that spacer back in. There's just no way for it to
So
fit.
final lap. Nicky with the win. I mean, I gotta hand it to him. He did what he had to do. He had to execute, and he executed that whole moto. Simmons
I'm not a
give us
lap
wheelie.
down here.
No.
Not
You
at
can
all.
still wheelie if you're a lap down.
No,
Fair
I
hand
don't
on-
really.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I fell off a good bit.
At least you gave us a little wheelie.
It's weird. Like literally by turn 1, my hands are like back to normal. I don't know what it is. I try to like
Huh.
breathe and, you know, wiggle my fingers around, do whatever I can, and it doesn't help. But as soon as the race is over, it goes away.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
or
Lucky's enthusiasm.
there's some stuff I do, like I don't know if it's like a nerve issue, but like I'll usually go in and get like dry needling or like adjustments at the chiropractor on my wrists and stuff, and that helps. And that's kind of what I do to prevent it. And I just, before this race, I hadn't been in for like 2 months to get any work done for any preventative maintenance.
I was bumming. I didn't really want to stop. Shout out to Law Tigers for the canopies there.
Like, oh, it's Buffalo. Oh, it's Buffalo.
I finally learned how to set my whole shot device with my boot in Europe.
That's so steezy.
What brand device do you got?
I got the Race Tech one that's made by. Who's it made by? I can almost see it in my mind.
I don't know. I probably can't do that. I have like the KTM style. It's like a button style. If you could.
Yeah, mine's
There's,
got
like,
two
more
buttons. No, it's buttons.
Okay. Yeah, I want to figure that trick out.
I just gotta wait until the fork hook's below them, and then put your boot on it. Made sure not to be sleeping on the start this one. Yeah, I'm always scared of that turn one, but I've gotten through it clean for years, but I don't know, I want to say 6 years ago, me and Chris Hodson, when he came over to America, he cleaned me out, exiting turn one, and I've got like, I'm always spooked that I'm just going to get my bar cleaned out in turn one. Woo. I almost tossed myself on the ground.
I've had a lot of near-death experiences on turn 1 in Tucson.
Dude, especially in the amateur class.
Oh yeah.
Around the outside. I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
There's like a video of.
And then look at Andy just going right there.
Yep. I'm like, all right, pulled that trick out of the hat that I learned from you.
Dude, this year there's been all these little jokes about Nikki looking back too much stuff. In Europe we were joking about it, and Nikki was intentionally looking back for pictures to be like, yeah, see, look, I'm looking back. And we were making a joke out of it, but I got out to the lead and I was just like, I'm not looking back, like I'm just going and stuff. And I thought it was Nick behind me, but it was you.
Yeah, I was feeling a little better going into this race, you know, getting one done and kind of loosening up a little bit, and kind of learning a couple things to try so I can do a little better this race.
Yeah, so like that previous moto we had watched, you had your fastest lap on lap 4 of the moto, and it was 120.8. And what's kind of funny is like Bronson had his fastest lap on lap 4, probably towing you. He was a 10th off you. Pecoraro had his fastest lap. A couple guys had their fastest lap on lap 4 and stuff. And then this moto, you end up dropping a full half second off your time. I think Nicky's on cruise mode because he knows that as long as he doesn't mess up, he's good now. Because that going into this moto, he's now 24 points up in the lead. So really all he needs to do is just stay up. Bronze Star with him. You and Bronson got to battle this year at a Cascadia round, didn't you?
Yeah. He was riding SM Granny's KTM.
You gotta love SM Granny.
Dude, that bike pulls pretty damn good. The top speed on it wasn't anything crazy, but it pulled my bike off the corners. I don't know what's done to it, but dude, yeah, the thing just tractored off the turns.
I don't know how those dinosaurs are still freaking functioning. She has. I told Nick
blowing his bike up like right before the race.
Oh yeah, on practice day. Yeah, we didn't make the practice day, but we got out there and we showed up to drop the, I don't know, some stuff off at the track before we went to the hotel. And Buffum was like, yo, look at the front of Bronson's bike over here. The case is just gone. Raw just
Oh, that's
sent
tough.
through it. Dude, you're sticking right with me. Yeah, I literally thought it was Nick for. I mean, I never knew. I looked back finally on the last lap, see if I could pull a wheelie across the finish line, and Nick was in second at that point.
Yeah, all you guys have gotten a lot faster. Because I remember jumping in like just 2 years ago, and I think I beat you guys. I definitely beat you guys in at least one of the motos I did. You know, like you and me have always, or like in previous encounters with you, I feel like, you know, we've always been similar speed, and you know.
Yeah, no, we've always
able to-
battled.
Yeah, and you know, and Nicky, I never ever battled him. You know, like usually he was behind, but now it's the roles are reversed. Now he's ahead, or about to be here in a little while. I held him off a good bit. I think about lap 8 or 9 is when he gets around me.
Yep. Yeah, and I had set my fastest lap in lap 2 of this moto with a 120.1. I wanted to get below a 120 so bad. I wanted to dip into the 119s.
So close.
I did 120.1s in the qualifiers in the 2 mains. I couldn't get below it.
Not that it would have changed anything, because with me getting tired toward the end of the races, but I really wish I had either the Metzlers or even the Dunlop to try. The Bridgestones were a great tire, like really durable, lasted forever, really consistent, but the drive grip wasn't what I've experienced with the Metzler. Like I was spinning a lot.
Yeah. I haven't got to ride on the modern Bridgestone. I mean, the last time I would have ridden Bridgestones was like 2012 or something like that.
Yeah, I think they're a great tire, like especially for practicing. Like, you know, at least at my home track, if I'm on a Metzler tire, you know, I'll put 4 10-minute sessions on it and it's smoked. But a Bridgestone, like I can go out there like 3 or 4 days and it lasts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for practicing, that's the tire I'll buy to go practice on. But for racing, you know, maybe something different.
Yeah.
I tried both compounds of the Bridgestone. Like this weekend here, I was running a soft, and I almost bought a Michelin rear off of Jeff for this second moto, but I decided not to. Just run what I know.
You would close in the gap good from the back straight and the front straight through up pretty much to the entrance of the dirt. You'd close up any gap I made.
Yeah, I mean, as I would expect, you know, I figured, you know, maybe there's a few areas on the asphalt I could, you know, make up a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But making up time and, you know, passing's 2 different things.
Oh yeah. And I struggle. Like, I mean, it's always hard leading too, because it's easy when you're I like being the guy in second, because then I can try different lines, I can pressure, and I don't feel the pressure, you know? But like when it's like you feel the pressure of someone there and you're trying to go, that's when it's like that mental fortitude is so important, and it's so hard to achieve.
Yeah.
I like Jeff just laying down there trying to get shots.
Like the Victoria's Secret model.
She's just trying to get shots of Bronson on his bike.
Yeah, I was pretty
stoked.
Pretty stoked with how my bike did, though. I mean, I got the thing, like I said, I just put an exhaust on it, did the suspension, and compared to what I brought out in 2021, which was just a stock SMR, yeah, I thought this bike was a lot better.
Yeah. Dude, I rode Timmy V. I think you probably know who Timmy V is.
Yep.
He got a 23 SMR and did like the K-Tech spring conversion in it and stuff. And I rode that, and I was blown away at how strong that stock motor was. I was just like, dude. And I mean, I don't know, maybe it's... I had I told the story on like the last Motocast we did where I've had this bike. This bike's it's a 2017, so it's got a bunch of seasons on it now. And Joe was kind enough to give me this bike when he like kind of stepped away from racing. And so I was thinking, I was like, man, I should probably put some fresh clutch plates in this slipper clutch because I don't know when I haven't done them in a couple years and it's been abused and stuff. So I took it out, and the stack height was still in tolerance, but some of the middle plates were a little like you'd see this discoloration in the steels. And I got a new set and I put it in, it didn't function as a slipper at all. So I was having to slip by hand. And then for this race, I was like, I'm tired of slipping by hand. So I put the old clutch stack back in, and then I got my slipper back, but I don't know that it was necessarily the best for like my motor going fast.
Are you running a quick shifter, Andy?
Or
Yeah, I have that enabled.
How is that on the 23? Do you have a stock one or do you have an aftermarket one?
It's stock. It's cool. I think it's only like 3rd, 4th, 5th that it works, and you know, it's probably not as good as an aftermarket one, but for like bone stock, it's pretty sick to have. I mean, I wish it was
I almost died.
quick shift all the gears, but you know, it definitely helps, especially on this back straightaway here. It helps quite a bit.
I bet. I got to run with a quick shifter on the TM we rode in Italy, and that was so cool, just wide open, and it was just the quickest, most butter up shifts. I've heard some guys complain with the new SMR that you really have to do like precise shifts. You have to fully detent back down on your shifts, so you can't just kind of keep your foot under it, and you might like fuck with that sensor's ability to like cut out for the next upshift. Have you found that?
Yeah. No, I found, like, to me there's been zero issues. I mean, I'm used to really sensitive quick shifters on my road race bikes where, yeah, just if you breathe on it with your foot, it's gonna cut ignition and it could screw you up. So to me, at least my bike, it's pretty dummy proof. I did ride back in 2020, or no, I guess it was 2022, not 2021, that I did the AMA series. So after the finale in 2022, me and Lucas Holbacher tested with KTM on pre-production 2023 bikes. And those bikes, the quick shifter was a lot more sensitive, I felt. And the production bikes, like, you have to be, for lack of a better word, I guess, more aggressive with your shifting for it to work. So it takes more of an input to do the shifts with the quick shifter. So whatever the pre-production version was, it was a lot more sensitive, and maybe they found that it was too easy for people.
Let's go to the inside.
Yeah, at this point, my hands are starting to get tired.
You're just
I'm like,
done.
all right, like, yeah,
You can have it.
you know. It's like,
Damn
I
it,
know I'm
Andy.
not. I know, sorry, buddy.
No, I mean it really wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, that's so.
No, like Nick's gotten so much faster this year, and it started last year when he first went over to Europe and he came back, and then he kicked my butt at the last couple rounds last year, and it was my first time really getting beat by Nick, and I was just like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, man, it's like going to that next level. It elevates you. Like, I remember, with road racing, when I first turned pro, I'd come back to my home club and just feel like the man. Just,
Yeah.
like it's like the same thing. You're like, this is nothing after you go and do something bigger. So, yeah, I'm sure going to Europe, he's like, ah, man, like going back to America, I got this. So,
Have you ever
Dude,
done
what's
an
funny is all the. Sorry, Johnny. Say that again.
Have you ever done an S1, Andy?
no, but like seeing Nikki and seeing Butters do it, like I want to do it. Like I hit up MTR and I was asking about, buying a ride at one of the final rounds, and then I hit up Nikki, before the Supermoto of Nations team was announced, and was asking if there was room on the team. So definitely like perked my interest. So it's something that I would like to do, because I've never been out of the country, and I've always wanted to race in Europe at some point. So I think, you know, maybe this year I try to hit around, but I haven't put that much thought into it yet. It's just kind of a bucket list item at the moment.
Yeah, if you got the opportunity to fully do it, it was it was probably the coolest thing I've ever done. And I think the plan right now is to roughly try to put together another Supermoto Nations team for this next year. And stuff like a couple of sponsors we had last year are already on board for next year. Will Sequino, he's a Supermoto racer. He was here at this race, but crashed in qualifying real bad. And so he sat out the race, but he has a hot sauce company. He's making a special blend of hot sauce that's going to sell so we can raise money for whatever team that gets selected to go. I'm not sure exactly how the selection process will work. Obviously, the AMA will probably have to have a say in it and stuff like they did this year.
It's funny. I heard I heard all this way after the fact, but I guess someone from AMA was tossing my name in the ring there, so I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, I would love to do it this year. Like I'm all in, and if that happens, I'd love to be part of that. And yeah, I'm really eager to see what the series is going to be this year, because I definitely want to do some races, and if it you know, kind of aligned with the other stuff I got going on, I could see doing all the rounds.
Yeah,
fun to mix it up.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like this year was definitely, there was a lot of struggles that they had this year. I know Alex, he pretty much lost money every round, and we had lower turnouts this year and stuff that was kind of unfortunate. We still had a bunch of fun because it is Supermoto, but there's some stuff that needs to be worked out, I think, on the promotions end to like kind of fix some stuff, because you got like Supermoto East Coast that runs a really good ship and stuff, and it was kind of, I don't want to sound like a bummer, but the AMA stuff was a real struggle for a lot of the guys that did it this year.
Yeah, no, it's understandable. I see this, you know, it's not even just the sport of Supermoto. I mean, lots of types of racing are going through struggles. Flat track really seems to be kind of struggling a bit too. All the momentum has really shifted towards road racing right now. It's like a few years ago, flat track was stealing all the momentum, and now they kind of, the wind's been pulled out of their sails, so it kind of, no,
and it's like, and it's a lot of like stuff that's out of the control of like the promoters and everything too. When we had COVID that kind of just shut down the world, that didn't help. In some ways it like kind of propped up. We had those one weekend events that like we would do and that kind of stuff where we'd have 4 rounds in one weekend here at Tucson.
Yeah, I love that.
And those were good times. So yeah, that was fun. But then
I could
like
see
nowadays,
from all perspectives, it's like, like you guys want a true national championship. You know, I could see that perspective, and I could see the perspective of like, hey, let's scale this thing to like a certain region to try to build it up that way. Yeah.
Big Willie.
Hell yeah.
Nice Wooly right there.
Oh, plus we got NAS too. That's definitely something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and you tried to do NAS this year, Andy. I know, but it was just like too much stuff to do too last minute to like figure out. But I think that's gonna be really cool to have as a Supermoto community.
You earned it. Thank you so much.
Freaking Nikki.
Definitely got a lot of redemption to do for the NAS.
Same.
I had a rough go at her this year.
I had my first DNS ever.
Yeah, Simpy ran on like some old rain tires that we had that were super hard and not good. And he was just crashing his brains out. And I looked at it, and the backside, they're already hard, and the backside of the knob's already rounded off. And I was just like, I mean, you kind of need fresh tires. And we put fresh tires on his bike, and the second day for the second moto with NAS, he goes 5 seconds a lap faster.
And like I kept Charlie in sight too. Like I wasn't close enough to like be aggressive with trying to pass or anything like that, but I mean I kept him in sight. But the day before I got like lapped by the entire field.
Lucky's not scared to wave the flags.
Yeah, shout
right
out
next
to
us.
Lucky for being awesome flagger.
And I think from some of the stuff I've talked to, I don't know if you've got to talk to Lucky, Andy, yet this year. Or
Not this year. It's been a good month or two since I've talked to him about the series.
Yeah, I know he's kind of stepping up to try to like rejuvenate the AMA series, and I really hope that he's able to pull off what he's trying to pull off. It'd be cool to see, and it definitely needs it right now and stuff. But I mean, like we were talking about, just everything's hurting in the world right now. So just for us to all have the ability to go do this is pretty fucking rad.
For sure.
Coy.
Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go!
Good times.
That was a good weekend.
Yeah. This video here, Andy, is probably like the first I remember of like really seeing you do Supermoto. So this is like 2015.
Oh my god.
You did this
Yeah,
video
dude.
for it.
Where did you find this? This is like a bootleg
I don't know.
version?
Someone bootlegged it. I couldn't find it on Motorsports or like your YouTube or anything, but I
Yeah,
wanted to. I found it. I was like, I want to ask him about the genesis of this.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, Motorsport got in like some legal trouble because of all the music copyright stuff. I mean, that was back when people were uploading videos with like there wasn't really any rules. So but yeah, this was just like kind of a hey, let's dig out Dad's old
Dude, that's
Supermoto
a
bike out of
cool
the
section
garage.
right there.
We just
Dude, is Brett Q deaf here or what?
What is that noise?
It's so good.
Yeah, dude, we just shotgun this. Like we loaded up a van, a couple film guys, and we shot this in a day. No permits. I just kind of had some spots. I was like, hey, let's go here, do this and that. And the whole time, like, you know, that's my dad's 06 Sierra 450R. And it had like, these tires at this point were like 5 years old, just been sitting.
Yeah, you can see how slick it is, like as you're trying
Yeah.
to ride on these streets and stuff. Like the
Yeah,
bike's
well,
just
I didn't have any
dancing.
warmers. We had no warmers, and they were like hard as a rock. And you're not really putting any heat in them because we just ride.
Yeah, it's
film,
like
go
sliding
back,
with
like-
no lean angle.
Yeah.
That looks good. And then I remember because like one of our local stunt guys, I don't know. I wonder if you know him because he's been a long time icon guy, Ernie V Hill.
Ernie? Yeah,
Yeah.
I know Ernie. Yeah,
Yeah,
I met him.
He's a pimp.
Met him at a hooligan race, and I kind of learned a little bit from him. He like kind of taught me how to ride slow but look like you're going fast and crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's one of our Albuquerque guys. I never really got to ride with him all that much because we're always doing. I mean, that dude's so busy, but
Yeah. No, not in this particular project, but like some of the OEM stuff I've done where you're like riding behind a car going 30 miles an hour, but they want you to be like dragging your
Yep.
elbow. Like to be able to ride slow, but like make yourself look cool still is so hard. So,
oh yeah.
but dude, so I'm wearing jeans, and Icon at the time, they had this thing on my knee there, you see? It's like
Mhm.
basically a knee
Yeah, knee
cover
puck,
with
yeah.
a knee puck on it. So
Yeah, dude, what's
kind
funny
of
is that product for Icon's like promotional stuff is another one of our Albuquerque buddies that Ernie had do the Icon's like promotional video stuff for because Ernie was shooting it. So he's like, I need another guy that can like drag knee. And Ernie's not the best at dragging knee anyway. Dude, that's sick though.
This corner was so slow and slick. You can see I'm barely leaning over. But
Still need
I
him.
don't know. This video before it got taken down had like 5 million views. It was insane.
Dude, I remember seeing it and being like, who is this guy? It's got a motorsport edit. We're out here racing Supermoto. We're getting no love. And I remember being like all jealous and shit.
So So why did it get taken down? Was it due to this video or just to other copyrights?
The
Or was it
music.
because they were trying to monetize or
It was
whatever?
the music.
Maybe I'm not sure exactly, but I just know the main deal was it was music. Like they had to take down all their videos that
Oh, dude, are you on Marchesini's front rear? Yep.
Yeah. This track is like about 5 minutes from my house. Pretty badass track. Private
And
track.
you're in Oregon, yeah?
Yep. I'm like 25 minutes south of Portland.
Okay.
But yeah, this was a fun video. Like I said, we just loaded up a van, shot this in a day. Like it was super. There was no budget. There was no planning. It was just, hey, let's try to make something here.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is exactly what I've always wanted to do. So I remember that's why it probably like maybe be a little bit of a jealous prick back in the day and stuff. But because I mean, this was the first year that me and you probably race each other. I would think.
Oh
so.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I did show up at Tucson and I borrowed. I was
Glenn
supposed
Fuller's
to ride.
bike.
Yeah, and that thing wouldn't start, and then I end up riding Alex Mock's backup bike.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's funny. Yeah, dude, I was having to dig to find that one because I was like, where is it? It's like this is where I remember it. But so like you grew up doing some supermoto, didn't you? Because you're similar age to Gage, aren't you?
Yeah. So I was a motocrosser, got into supermoto in 2007. Yeah, just kind of by accident. Like someone's like, hey, there's a supermoto race. Like here's these scooter tires. Like throw them on your pit bike. Like I was a motocrosser and like pit bike racer back when like the 50 scene was really big. And
how
yeah,
old
that's
are you?
kinda
So
how I
like
got into it.
how old were you in 07?
13. I'm 29 now.
Okay.
So yeah, I ended up setting up a 150R, and then yeah, Gage and I were battling at the NAS Moto Championship, and yeah, then I was racing supermoto. I did supermoto probably till like 2011, 2012, and by then I was just focused on road racing.
Were you doing like Supermoto USA back then? Or?
Yeah, Supermoto USA. We travel, like I remember doing Mayhem at the Morongo, like some of the national stuff.
Yeah.
But like I wanted to go pro in that, but the series was dead by the time I was old enough, you know.
Did you do that one at in like 09 in Vegas where they did it inside the arena at South Point?
No.
Okay. Because I remember there being like a pretty big amateur national weekend. I'm not sure who was put on by that weekend, but yeah, I turned pro in 07.
Oh damn. Nice. This video I'm pretty stoked on, like the riding I'm doing. So like obviously KTM 790 flat track bike. Well, not very obviously because it's completely modified into a flat track bike.
Yeah, it's got like a tube swing arm there.
This thing, dude, it is actually so hard to drift because of the short wheelbase and all the traction it makes. So I had to ride the shit out of it, and this guy taught me how to drift my car. Like he was on set just to like make sure my drift car was ready to go, and then we kind of had this last minute idea, obviously pulling some inspiration from Ken Block, you know, on his stuff here. But yeah, this was like a COVID idea I had. Like nothing was going on. I got Motul and Oregon Motorcycle Tourney, a few sponsors to give me some money, and then the Ridge Motorsports Park where I'm at, they had the track shut down because of COVID. So they're like, hey, like no one's here. You can come out for a couple days and do whatever you want. And I gathered some buddies and we shot this thing, and I did all the planning, the whole deal. It was kind of another shotgun type approach, but
That's gnarly.
Dude, so
yeah,
sick.
the Rockstar can spiral, like
That's super sick.
I swear, like I legit did that multiple takes, like not touching the can.
Hell yeah.
So
Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
and if you notice, like when I'm drifting the bike, I don't put my foot down. Like I think that's cheating.
Yeah, proper. Yeah.
Yeah, and no extended swing arms either.
Yeah, no, that's all
And this here-
all the core guys appreciate that, dude.
Yeah, this year, like I literally been driving for 3 months. Like I bought the car off of the guy who won the Formula Drift Championship last year, Chelsea Denofa. This was like a car he had for his drift school, and I bought it off him. And
How different was
started
that
driving.
feeling to learn? Like, had you driven cars much before
I had,
or anything
you
like
know,
that?
no, zero. Like, I basically showed up to his school, and within a 3-hour session was drifting the track, thinking all the corners. Like I've learned so much since then, but like I kind of had the basics down, like enough to obviously do what I'm doing in this
Do you
video.
think-
Oh, God.
Do you think your like influence of like from your flat track and all that experience like helps, or was this just something that you just took to naturally?
I mean, definitely anything motorcycle related for background helps a ton. I mean, if you can rip a motorcycle, like your understanding of things, and you're in a car, so like it's just you feel safer. Like I think it's pretty easy for anybody from a motocross or dirt bike background to hop in a car and do what I'm doing in this. I mean, yeah, there's some things you're gonna have to learn, but it's gonna come to you a lot more naturally than someone who has zero experience, right? So
For sure.
that motorsports experience really crosses over.
But it doesn't really work the other way.
No, it's
Yes.
just a dirt bike thing, man. Dirt bike people, like, they're different, you know?
That's the key. It's a dirt bike thing too, because you can see some road racers that are gnarly talented road racers, but you can't really, they don't cross over all that well. But then you got
Yeah.
some guys that do, and you're like, wow.
Yeah. This car, this is like a 200 horsepower car, so it's like, you know, this is like an XR100 of drift cars, but it's still cool. like I said, it's just, you know, this
What is
idea
the-
I had.
One question, and this is probably a stupid question, is the compound for those like drift tires specifically like a harder compound so it slides easier, or is it a grippy compound?
So these are all season, you know, just regular tires. So there's nothing special.
Okay.
For like a low horsepower car like that, you don't want a grippy
So
tire, and you kind of air them up a bit. But like at the competition level, like Formula Drift, where those guys have 1,000 horsepower cars, they're putting on super meaty, wide, soft compound tires, and they haul ass. So it's like, yeah, you might
So they
think
need
like,
they
oh,
need it then.
they need the grip. Like they're gripped up, mega.
A little bit of flat track.
Dude,
Yeah, this
yeah.
is an old one
Our
here.
Simp and Samp here is our local flat trackist, but New Mexico flat
Nice.
track's a joke.
Dude, this track was so dialed
my
this day.
God.
This is Salem Speedway. This is about
This track
35 minutes
looks
south of me.
always dialed, dude. I don't know what you
Looks
mean.
so sick.
It's
I would
it can-
I would ride flat
sometimes it
track
can
if I could
be-
do this.
Yeah, it's always a good track, but like the grip, I mean, it's always different. Every time you go, the track always feels different. Like flat track is the most difficult thing I think I've done because it's always different and you're always chasing your setup. The track's changing constantly. Like I've had days where I've been at the track where like I'll dominate a dash for cash and then go out for the main 10 minutes later, and all of a sudden I'm like getting smoked. I'm like, what changed? I didn't change my bike, but the track changes. So it's like being able to keep up with that and predict what to do to your bike and how to, you know, how to attack the track. Like that's what's hard. And that, like when I was racing Super Hooligans, when it was a flat track series, like 2017 through 2019, that was so difficult, especially when I was racing Joe Kopp, who he's probably the best rider / tuner there is. You know, that guy's
Legend.
like, dude, he's a legend. So, I mean, that guy, he knows what he's doing. So trying to race him and keep up with him, that's tough. But yeah, so I think that was Brandon Robinson had an issue there. So now I'm leading this thing. That was like a heat
Who's
race
that
win.
on the 16? I think I remember. Wasn't he
Wyatt
buddies with like the
McGuire.
Layman's? Oh no, I think it's someone else.
I can't remember.
Did you ever ride much with like Jacob Lehman or anyone? Well, he's probably Washington, huh?
Yeah, I know Layman's pretty well, but I know we've definitely raced together at some point. But he's a little like a year or two older than me, so like kind of when he was coming up, like we just weren't in the same classes. Like
Yeah.
He was probably racing 450s, and I was on my 150, or maybe getting on my 250. Oh yeah, this is when it was a fresh Supermoto bike right here.
Looks nice.
Is this stock everything?
Yeah, I
Still
might
stock
have the
suspension, I think.
K-Tech kit in there. I can't tell.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
Oh yeah, I got the K-Tech.
Oh yeah,
conversion
yeah,
on the front.
yep. Yeah, you can see that KYB looking cap on the top. Very nice.
So yeah, this is Pat's Acres. This is 10 minutes from my house, and I think it's the best go-kart track there is.
How far
Like
is Eugene from you? Probably like an hour or two.
That's an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half.
Okay, that's where my father-in-law lives. I need to go visit him more often. Then I'll have to link up with you.
Yeah, man, I'll take you here. This place is rad. So back in 07, they had the NAS Moto, championships here. Like Joey Pasquarella came out, he won, the pro classes that year, and then me and Gage battled it out.
That was the year he was on the Husqvarnas, was it? Or was he on the Yamaha by that point?
He was on Huskies. Yep.
Yep.
And then Gage beat me in the Super Mini class. We were on 150Rs. I think Ryan Kearns got third that year.
Dude, Kearns, that kid was fast. I remember my first pro race was like State Line 2007, and I just had a bone stock YZ250F, and I don't know if we had, I don't think I had suspension, nothing done. Like first time going outside of New Mexico, I got my pro license through road race at our local road race club in New Mexico, and we go to State Line. And it was still like the factory teams, like Josh Hansen raced that weekend for factory KTM and Pingree and all those guys, and I barely made the main going to the LCQ to make the lights main, and Kearns made the main on a fucking 80 for the 250 Pro, dude. And I was like, there's this little kid on an 80 that's in front of me on the grid.
That's so gnarly. Dude, that track looks like so much fun.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I'm hearing Oregon trip in our future.
Yeah, this looks so fun, Andy.
Yeah, so we kind of roughed in the dirt section here. They have a permanent motocross track, which is what this is that I'm riding on. But if you haven't had it queued up, like you should pull up this video on my Instagram of when the Supermoto dirt section's prepped and packed. It's insane.
Okay.
Nice thing going here.
So with all your different facets of motorcycling you've done, since you truly are like one of those rare jack of all trades, having moto, flat track, road race, and stuff. What do you kind of tend to? What's your favorite?
I would
is there a
say
favorite?
100%. I have the most fun riding Supermoto. I love road racing, just because of the speed and like the precision to it. The strategy to it. Like I think the best version of me is a road racer, but Supermoto is always like near and dear to my heart, like my favorite. And obviously I love motocross. It's hard. It's hard to really say I have a favorite, but like I don't know. I just feel like the most playful and like the most expressive when I'm riding my Supermoto bike.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Like if I want to show someone a cool clip, it's me ripping a wheelie out of a corner and backing it in. Like I think that's what's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like we're thinking about Johnny's been on me to try to get out here locally. And what is Rick doing right there? Is he trying to screw
Dude,
you
he's
over?
just like, let me by. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, let me try to just pass you. Like,
I think,
dude, this.
I mean, he had such a bad get off. It's the last State Line we had last year, and I don't think his ribs ever healed from what I remember talking to him about. Like, he separated his ribs so bad that like something didn't heal back or something.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun. Dude, this is the most pathetic dirt section that I've ever done. Apparently, it wasn't Cascadia's fault.
Oh my God! Look how
this does not
your
do
momentum
justice.
gone.
Dude, I swear this. Like, I can't even see where I'm going. I'm like, but like, there's a motocross track basically where all those RVs are. There's a huge motocross track and big amateur regional event going on, and like that's the dirt section they built us.
It's
No
like
way.
Pueblo after we're done with it.
And this track, like, dude, the cone thing, man, like people kept kicking out cones.
Yep.
Like, I come around
They
the
can't
track.
help it.
You'll probably see some around here, like in the middle of the track. But this was a really fun track, though. I came up here thinking it was gonna be junk, but I actually had so much fun on this track.
Yeah, a lot of times those parking lot style, like this is kind of like almost looks like it's on a runway, but it might be. But those type of tracks are oftentimes the most fun because you can. That's where I feel like I utilize my road race background from a kid because I grew up racing like RS1.
There's one.
Oh yeah.
I grew up racing like GP bikes, and you like learn to like. You might sacrifice speed in this corner to gain speed in the next 3 corners, and these point and shoot tracks really like you can really gain time on them by having that like kind of road race mentality.
Look at this.
Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
like
dude.
you can't even go forward, you just hear your motor just like you can't even
it's a-
hold it wide open, like you're spinning going blah 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 blah.
It's a fluff section. It's not dirt. It's fluff. And this guy, dude, that's Bronson's dude. He's out there pointing out the lines, like probably throwing rocks at my lines. Like that guy, you know, he all day
Oh, was
long.
was it Mikey Helm?
Whoever drives Bronson's van,
Yeah, it was Mikey.
nice,
He's a G.
nice dude. I like that guy. He's like,
Yeah, no,
he's,
but
he's
Bronson's his guy.
100. He's 110% in it and behind Bronson for sure. Like he was giving him all the insight of the track, you know, between the races and stuff, and cheering him on. But
This was right after Bronson won Sturgis, wasn't it?
yeah, like the week, like on his
Oh.
way home, the week after
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because
so-
he went to some flat track and then did this like the next day or something.
Yeah, so yeah, I this is like probably my 3rd time riding this bike, kind of getting back into it here, and obviously I'm like, well, I want to beat him because
Yeah.
you know he just won, so
So this is just one of the rounds inside the Cascadia Supermoto
yeah,
Club.
yep. So I
Oh
think he
my
beat me.
gosh. That looks awful.
Yeah.
Dude, I just blew it.
That's good enough. Oh.
I'm like, all right,
Oh, look
I'll-
at you!
I'll-
Like you could have cut it,
Oh,
but
wow.
you were
Oh,
nice
yeah.
about it.
yeah, like
True
I'm like,
professional.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna pass him on the straightaway. I think I can give the spot back, but yeah, I think he beat me in the heats because, or this might even be heat. They have like, oh no, that was a heat race. They had to start like in a random spot.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of Colorado Supermoto has one, and Pueblo. And Pueblo has a pretty big, fast road race track. And we would just use a dog leg of it and go into this dirt section, use a skinny strip to like link back and not go down more of the wide open road race track. But it kind of reminds me of this. And the dirt section up there always turns to powder. It's like, unless you got a bunch, like this dirt just looks like they were, no matter what, they were going to have the odds stacked against them for having a good dirt section.
Yeah, like they came in the night before, like the facility carved that in, you know, very fresh. It was fun though.
Butters, do you know if Cascadia is still having that street race?
I believe so. That's so like the
I think you're calling it the streets. of
we might
Sultan.
have to, yeah, we might have to have Simp and Sam pulled up later, except when we start scanning through some stuff. But from what I know, they wanted to do it this year, but I think just the bureaucracy of dealing with the city, it pushed it out to where I'm pretty sure it's happening this year. Another cool one that's happening this year is Brock McAllister's doing a race at Prairie City during the fair. Man, what is that? Drawing a blank on the town right now. But that looks like it'll be cool because there'll be plenty of people there because It's a fair going on. The track's going to be probably more like a 50-50 dirt asphalt ratio. So I
That'd be
love that automatically. And then his plans to have a big purse, and we'll have good riders. Like more than likely Gage is going to be there. And it's always sick to see Gage ride with Gage.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. That one's definitely a trip I want to make next year, is hit that, hit a Cascadia, do some Smex,
Dude,
do
You
couple
should
NAS
do
qualifiers.
so after the Tucson race, I hit the very next weekend that track in Reading Supermoto.
Oh yeah, right.
That place is sick. That track is so fun. Their dirt section, that place is kind of like a 50-50.
Where is Reading?
It's NorCal, so it's like a couple
Okay.
hours north of Sacramento. It's actually pretty close to me. It's like 6 hours south. But dude, their dirt section was like one of the best dirt sections I've ever rode. Like, you know, they watered it really well. You know, it's more of a permanent dirt section, so it's really hard packed. Like, it's through the trees. Like, you got these banked berms switching back through the trees with some jumps. Like, it reminded me of like a mountain bike trail.
Timby,
Like,
look
we're
that
just
up.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
yanking off stuff. It's sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
The other
that
race.
track I want to go back to really bad because that place was cool.
Is it Shasta Supermoto?
Shasta Supermoto Club. Yeah. So the track is in Reading, but yeah, it's called Shasta Supermoto Club.
Okay. Is that the? I might be getting confused with another one. Was that the one that Jake Thompson did? Was he at that
Yep.
race?
Yep. Yeah. Jake
Okay.
was there.
Okay. Sick.
It's funny. I pulled into there and like nobody knew who I was, but they saw the van and they're just like, "Who are you? You someone special or like what?" You know. all the local people were like they're like sizing me up. They're like, "Oh yeah, well our guys are real fast. We got blah 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 blah." You know. They're like,
Yeah.
"Are you any good?" I'm
You got-
like, "Well, I got third at AMA last weekend." But it was super nice club. Like I had so much fun there, and yeah, Jake was there, and like I said, that place was rad. Like I can't say enough great things about that club.
That's cool.
Like,
Is that-
I'm dying to go
Is
back.
the dude that's running that? His name's like Jeremy Calendar. I want to say. I don't know.
I can't remember. But
But yeah.
sick track though. Sick track.
That's awesome. The other Cascadia event I want to do is they do that night race in like
Yeah,
end
Tri-Cities.
of August, beginning of September, somewhere in there, and that place looks cool. Timmy V's been going for a couple years, and he says it's like got a bitch and dirt section and super cool. And I mean the whole Cascadia crew is just a pretty good time to be around.
Yeah. This is like the first event I've done with Cascadia since 2016 when Brock was doing that AMA Supermoto West series. Like I haven't been out at one since
Let's click on
then.
this one. Dude.
But yeah, I'd like to get back. I haven't been at that Tri-Cities track, but that's where they do the night race, and I think they just repaved it like last year. So now there's like more layout options there. So I'll have to get out there too.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys
Supermoto
can
Granny's
completely
always
get
giving
out
me
of,
a hard time.
you guys can completely get out of the activity now.
Okay.
Just go to Simpy.
Where's the leave activity? Always there it is.
You should try to find that that Instagram clip I had of that dirt section at Pat's Acres. I think it's a reel I posted up. It should be fairly
Is
recent.
that the one right there? No. Well, maybe.
I start on asphalt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching. Are you able to see Simpy's Instagram?
Yeah, here we go.
Nice flat track in there. Dude, look
Wow.
at that triple.
Yeah, and
Hell yeah.
prior to this, like you kind of take that right hander in, go left. There's a step down tabletop, and then that rhythm section.
Yeah,
That's so
But yeah,
sick.
this was a practice day that like was public, but there was like threatening rain and it never happened. So it was just me and like 3 people riding the track to ourselves all day.
Dude, I just
Yeah,
love Supermoto. The way your bike dancing just gets me excited to ride.
Yeah, I mean, dude, look how perfect this dirt is.
Dude.
I mean, it is just hooked up. Like, there's a couple, like one of the corners that's not shown on camera. It was really soft, and they got the biggest ruts, like the biggest, smoothest ruts you've ever seen. But yeah, that's Pat's Acres. I'd love to get a race out there going again someday.
Yeah, that track looks fun. Just the little bits of elevation look like it makes it real technical, and you can also just run the bike hard. So perfect.
Yeah, and yeah, there's a river right on the side of that brush there, so you don't want to jump too far off the track.
Simpy's gonna end up there. And then what was another thing I thought about with you? Didn't you like try to do a backflip on an Alta?
Yeah. No one had done one yet, and I was like, well, I've never done a backflip, so I should be the first to try it on an Alta. Like
Those thoughts work.
the night before
I like
I did
that
this,
energy.
the night before I did this, I like rented a dirt jump bike and learned flips into a foam pit, and then did it to a tabletop ramp at an indoor park. And then obviously I bust out the Extra 100, and I'm like, all right, I flipped this. Now I'm ready to get on this electric bike. But like the trick with mini flips, as I've learned from talking to like Jimmy Hill, who's a friend of mine, he's like the mini flip king,
Yeah,
is
he's gnarly.
he's usually doing them in first or second gear, and the bike
Mhm.
can only pull so hard in those
Right,
gears. But as you
right.
see, electric
This
bike,
thing
there's
can
no
go to like
gears.
80.
Dude, yeah. So it just rips my arms off the bars. Like I'm not trying to pull off. Like I
Dude, you
just
G'd out
legit,
so hard into oh my
I
god.
blew off the bike, and I came into that with more speed. Like I should have just crept up to it. Like I just didn't know what I was doing, obviously, and I just set myself to the moon. Luckily,
That's so gnarly.
I didn't get seriously hurt, but like it banged me up enough that I'm like, yeah, I can't do this again today.
Yeah.
And this is also during race season. Like I'm in the middle of fighting for a road racing championship in the Northwest, and also fighting for the Super Hooligan Championship. So definitely not a smart thing to do, but
You can't keep us racers down.
So tell us
Yeah.
how gnarly Straight Rhythm was.
Dude, yeah, that was super gnarly. Like I wish, like I have a hard time watching the footage of me because like by comparison I'm so slow, but
dude, like I when I heard you were doing it, I was like, no way. Like I was like, that's so gnarly. So gnarly. Like I would have shit myself, dude.
It legitimately was. Like so the reason the whole way this came about was Roland Sands, who, owns the Super Hooligan series. He always does the Moto Beach Classic, which is in conjunction with this, the flat track thing.
Right.
So he's I don't know if he really meant it when he asked me, but I don't know if it was a joke or what, but he was just like, hey, like, you want to do Red Bull Straight Rhythm? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I just didn't hesitate. Like, I took the offer because I'm like, dude, when am I ever going to get this, right?
Once in a lifetime, yeah.
But then I was like, oh god, like what am I doing? Like I'm a proficient motocrosser, like I'm a okay local pro, like same thing, kind of like the Supermoto race. Like I can do a hot lap here and there, but like I'm not gonna go out and do a 30-minute moto and be competitive. But a 45-second long straight race, maybe I can. So I got a bike set up. I had a local suspension company loan me some A kit, and they set it up for Supercross, and went to a buddy's house. Who had an arena cross track, and he had like a legit whoop section. I just worked on whoops for like 2 days with him, and
because I mean that's like the freaking scariest part of a SX track.
Yeah, and then I rode Lake Elsinore Supercross like the day before this, so literally like I had half a day on an actual Supercross track. This is the part of the track I just cringe because I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I should have just sacked up and tripled or done this or that. But just the like it's hard enough to ride the track like
Yeah.
right now when there's not really any spectators yet, but like to get out of your comfort zone and try a triple or do a different rhythm
Oh, dude, yeah.
when it's really hard, because at this point I'm just like, just don't make a fool of yourself and do something dumb. Like just like I think I did a good job of that. Like I showed up and no one was like, you shouldn't be here. Like,
Well,
there's
dude, you
actually a
you
couple-
straight up qualified for the show, bro.
Yeah, and I had a little luck with that. Like, one person, their bike, wouldn't run. But like, there was a couple dudes I was
Who was
fast
on
with.
that Moto memes bike that fucked up or whatever?
I can't remember, but one of the guys I was battling with, who qualified just ahead of me, Dylan Woodcock. He was on a RM 125, and like, I actually loaned him my carburetor because Stank Dog gave me his carburetor. My bike was running fairly good, but Stank's like, dude, put my carburetor on and put my fuel in, and we did that, and it was like another level. Like I probably,
Were you on a
I legit-
150 or?
yeah.
Okay.
So I had a really good running bike this event, so I had that going for me.
Who did you bracket? Did she went straight to bracket with AJ?
This is right now we're just practicing and doing maybe our qualifying runs.
Yeah, how
like,
sketchy was it
making
getting
show.
up that thing?
Dude, it was sketchy. It was slick as hell. Like, I'll tell you what, dude, going up this for first practice and
Oh my God.
launching off that, I'm like, holy shit, because dude, it's a short run up to it. I'm
Yeah.
like thinking I'm gonna bog and endo off the thing, which almost happened to me one time because I accidentally.
What were
drug
you
my rear
launching in
brake.
second, or were you launching first and having to grab a shifter? How did that work on this?
I think I was second gear. Yeah, I was definitely second gear.
Dude, and on the 125, like that, you're just slipping the fuck out of the clutch to pull that.
Yeah, the grate was pretty grippy, but dude, yeah, it's a very short run up. So like, if you don't slip the clutch just right, you're gonna bog and you're gonna case that thing. Which
Yeah.
casing
Yeah,
it's not
you don't have time to like chop the throttle, rot, you know.
You just don't want to
There's
endo
not
off that thing. And like I said, it almost happened to me because I accidentally drugged the rear brake on there. But yeah, it was gnarly. Like my first practice was with Carson Brown, and I launched off the thing, and then I literally just like watched him out of the corner of my eye, and I just tried to do exactly what he did, because I never really hit a proper step on, step off. Like I just fully sent it. I'm like, all right, like I'm just gonna rely on my instincts and my ability as a rider to get through this, and it worked. It worked. But like I said, there's some rhythms I wish I tried. Like I wasn't comfortable trying to seat bounce triple some of those rhythms like the other guys were. But,
Yeah. I don't blame you. I was so impressed.
Yeah, like going into it, my whole thing was like, it's just about the experience. And then once I actually made the show, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna stick to what I'm doing, because I know I'm gonna get eliminated first round because I'm the last guy to qualify in. So you go against the fastest guy. So I think I went against Josh Parisi.
Okay.
So I'm just like, yeah, just don't crash in front of 20,000 people, and while on TV. In practice, I clipped this a couple times. They didn't really have a lip. Oh, yeah, this is one of the times I crashed. Yeah, that table had no lip at all coming off it, so you have to just like perfectly land and load your suspension to get that bounce and to get it over those peaks. Like I probably, what I learned to kind of do a little bit better was to get the front end dip down. Like you really have to like kind of BMX it and get that front end down so that you're not letting the back tire tag the top of the landings.
Right.
But yeah, at this point, I'm like, I'm definitely getting kind of nervous now. I'm like, shit, like.
Yeah, what I get.
Like, I'm like, dude, I'm not. I was so nervous for the race. So we did the qualifying, and then I had about 5 hours until the actual heat. And in that 5 hours, I was riding flat track. So like, talk about the most opposite thing from straight rhythm.
That's probably like maybe a good thing though too, because you get your mind slightly off it instead of just dwelling on that, going, "Oh my god."
Yeah, but like, I might have done one more run there or pulled off, and then literally, like I said, I go ride flat track. I come back, and now it's showtime. There's no warm up. It's literally line up at the gate in front of 20,000 people. All those stands were full. I mean, I'm just looking at a sea of people, and the TV cameras are on you, and it's just like, all right, gate's gonna drop, and you're racing. And dude, it was the most nervous. It is. I was I've never been so nervous in my life, but it was also like so exhilarating. Like when I made it through the first run and crossed the finish line, I was like, holy cow! Like this is one of the coolest things I've ever done. So
Bet.
yeah, super lucky I got to do that.
Yeah, it's so sick.
But yeah, if I were to do it again, I think I'd be more prepared. Like I kind of know what I need to do to be more competitive. But definitely exceeded my expectations. Like when we showed up there, that jump, that big tabletop in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, I don't even know if I can do this. Like I might have to pull out of this event. But a lot of the pro
Yeah, a lot of the
were
guys were they were nervous.
they
of
were
it
all
too.
nervous. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it was blind. It was
Yeah.
blind, and the landing was so sharp. There was like no, like it was just a peaky knuckle.
Yeah, and then there's like that stuff with rocks and like scrubbing the shit out of it. And I was just like, what
Dude,
the
that's
fuck?
so humbling. Like seeing him, it's just like wow. Like
Yeah.
you see me, I'm just straight jumping there right there. I'm like,
Yeah,
because I'm
like
doubling through
I know how you
that
feel.
rhythm. Yeah, I'm doubling through that rhythm, so I'm just giving it everything to get over that. Like the guys that
Yeah.
were able to triple, they could get a little style over it because they're carrying a little bit more momentum than me.
Right.
But it was a fun jump, dude. When you're up in the air, like you're looking down at the ocean, down at the people, and it was insane.
I bet. And then you got some other talents other than just like being a bike guy too, don't you? Paint your I've seen a bunch of custom helmets and stuff of yours.
Yeah,
And like
yeah. I paint
RC.
my own helmets. I'm big into RC car racing. That's all I've been doing really the last couple months. Just racing RC cars.
Hell yeah. Have
And
you
then,
got one of those new dirt bike
Yeah,
RC things?
yeah. I have the low Supermoto. I got it set up for Supermoto right now, but I haven't really been using it because I ripped the brake cable out and that's been back ordered.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Simpy, scroll up. There was a video. I don't mean to do this to you, Andy, but like there was a video where you high side so hard on like the RC 390 at a track.
Oh yeah, that was
Dude, you
down a
slapped
bit
your head so hard.
or up a bit. Yeah. Dude, that was gnarly. So I think
Keep
what
going.
happened was the kickstand switch. So, that's Daytona right there. Yeah, and this other video that he's gonna show, something happened with the bike and the bike shut off. So it wasn't like anything I did, and it just sent me to the moon.
There's the crash
Right there.
helmet.
Right,
Oh yeah. You can see mid slide.
the next
Nope.
one. Yeah, the next
Up.
up.
Nope. Up.
Up right above that. Right there. See how the headlight shuts off?
Oh yeah.
Headlight shuts off,
Dude.
bike locked up.
Oh my god.
Dude,
All right, turn it off. Simpy. I can't do it.
if you had the sound of that, dude, it is brutal hearing that helmet smack. And I'm so lucky. Like, I don't think I got knocked out. Like, I obviously got a really good concussion from that, but
I guess it's a
it could have been a
testament to
lot worse.
their tech as far as absorbing the impact.
Yeah, HJC helmets. That definitely saved my butt right there.
You're riding with Rossi Moore, or whatever.
Yep. This year though, I'm wearing Bell helmets. Back in Bell.
Now you're good. Dial.
Oh, dude, like I'll be honest, it wasn't like I didn't switch like for the helmet. It was more so like the people.
Mm-hmm.
Like a buddy of mine that I grew up racing with. He's working for Bell now, so it's just like it made more sense for me to go with them. But
yeah, I've been a Bell guy
be
because of the people too, but also I fully believe in the Bell. Like
I love. Like I'm happy. Like it's been so long. I haven't really wore a Bell since like 2019.
Dude, that was such a clean paint job too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Once I put the helmet back on, I'm like, oh yeah, like I missed this. Like the belt helmets fit me so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that helmet I did for Daytona, and then I ruined it. And then there might be some pictures a little further up of
Toward
some
the
new
top.
ones I painted, like the one I'm holding there down there. Yeah,
Mm, oh, that's cool.
I did that one. And then there's an orange and blue version of it that I wear on my KTM.
How is that MV?
It's cool, dude. It was a lot of work to get built, but it's a fun bike and it sounds better than anything.
Are they twins or triples?
The MV is a triple, 800cc triple.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like the same speed on that bike as I am on my hooligan bike there.
No way. And you're on the 790 or the 890?
890. Like I'm actually about a lap faster on the MV, but like it's pretty incredible that the KTM is that close, for a naked bike and being an 890 twin.
Dude, that kind of stuff looks cool. Like I don't know that I would have the funds to ever go road racing again, but I think the only way I'd go road racing again is like doing like 390s or a hooligan bike or something like that,
This 890 hooligan bike, it just feels like a gnarly, fast supermoto bike. It is the most fun to ride. Like
Why haven't we
like
seen you do like a bagger like all those other guys?
I was supposed to do the bagger thing the first year they did it at Laguna, like Harley. I was supposed to ride a factory Harley bike, and then that fell through. And then I just said, like, I just haven't had any interest. Like last year, I had a ride lined up, but then they weren't able to get the factory Harley support that they were supposed to have. So then they decided not to get into it because it's just so much money. But I don't know. I've kind of been through the ringer with both Harley and Indian, and it's just like I've been so committed with KTM the last few years. That's kind of what I'm more interested in, and I just kind of want to keep going down that avenue. So
That's cool.
it'd be different. Like maybe like last year I was entertaining the bagger thing because it was actually a paid opportunity, but like I said, it didn't work out.
Would that
So
have been with the series along with Moto America, or would that have been
yeah,
the
it would have been Moto America King of the Baggers. So
Okay.
it was just like a California based team. And so I don't know, maybe yeah, I don't know.
That
Like the
seems
bagger
wild.
thing, it's not something I'm going out of my way to pursue,
Right.
but
It's
if
just
the
such
right
like
opportunity came up, I
a
would maybe do
wild
it.
looking.
It's gnarly. Dude, those bikes are so big in person. Like
Yeah.
it's honestly intimidating. I would love to try one just to see what it's like, but
Dude, I talked to Narbone about his because he's on that. He does the other series or whatever, and it's
yeah,
kind of weird how
PRO.
yeah. So like that one, I guess those guys, I think almost all of them are getting paid, except they have to sign contracts or something that they cannot race the other series and stuff. But Shane,
Yeah.
that Harley's turboed and has 200 horsepower at the rear wheel.
That's insane.
Like I was like, what is that thing to ride? And he's like, dude, it's wild. I bet they would just like, because like someone like Shane, like being the flat tracker and supermoto guy, like I feel like he's perfect for it. And someone like you that is so good at sliding, dude, I bet that would be so fun to ride because the way it would just slide into corners so easy with all that torque. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think I'd be a good bagger rider because like I really like racing 1000cc bikes, so I'm really comfortable sliding the bike and having lots of power. And these things make as much power as a super bike now. And yeah, obviously they're a lot heavier and a lot different. But it's crazy what they're doing to them to get these things racing and going as fast as they are. I mean, the
Dude, and
King of the
just like
Bagger
the
series
machine
guys.
work and stuff into a lot of them is just, it's wild. Like you see
Yeah,
that and you're just like, what? Like that's some of
the swing
the
arms
most,
that they're
yeah, the
doing.
most tech getting evolved is being put into like baggers and hooligans, I feel like.
The bagger class for sure has the most amount of tech going into it and the most amount of money. Like, yeah, it's insane. Yeah,
Trippy.
I don't know. Like, unless somebody is like offering to, like, there's just not many opportunities out
Oh,
there to
dude, like
get
if
paid
you
to
had to
race a
put
bike.
together your own program for that, oh my god.
No.
Imagine, dude, like even just a low side's probably the thing's gonna flip when it hits the gravel, and then
Oh yeah,
it's not gonna
and
be
it's
fun.
thousands of dollars, that thing, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Right now, I'm just kind of like super hooligans has kind of been my bread and butter, so that's just kind of what I'm sticking to at the moment.
Yeah. So with that, like, because like you started that, and you didn't you was it 2 or 3 years in a row that you won, and then they like made rules to try to like keep your bikes from winning and that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
now Hooligans is more of a road race style thing, or are they still doing some flat track stuff, or is it like kind of fully converted over to more of the road race?
It's converted over to road racing. Like they do a one-off event called Moto Beach Classic.
Right.
You know,
That Alex
last
does.
year it was asphalt oval. Year prior it was an actual dirt track oval on the beach. But
Mm.
yeah, it started as a flat track series. I won that championship 2017, 2018, and 2019. Got second just by Joe Kopp just edged me out of that championship, and that was the year I built the 790 Duke KTM. And yeah, mid-season they tried creating a weight rule, and then going into 2020 they created a weight rule, and I had to add, like, the minimum weight was 400 pounds, so I had to add like 70 pounds of lead to my bike. And I still won the first race of that, and then COVID happened and they canceled the year, so that series didn't happen. And then in 2021 they did what was called the Quattro, and it was a road race at Laguna, and then a flat track, oval, a TT, and a half mile. And they made this rule that, like, if you run a different bike at any of the rounds, you get a penalty. So long story short, I road raced a brand new 890 Duke R and then flat tracked my 790, and I lost the championship by like a couple points with the penalty because a flat track dude showed up and won all 3 flat track races, but he didn't road race at all. So that kind of screwed me. That was a silly rule. And then they for 2022 they upped the weight rule to 420 pounds. Not sure where
Hell
they
yeah.
got the 420 number, but
Doesn't matter. It's perfect.
yeah. So that sucked. Like I pretty much lost. Like I almost won the championship then again, but like I'm racing the 890 twin with all this lead weight against 1200s, and I don't know. I need to go too deep into it, but
That's
the
wild.
rules are changing now that now that it's a Moto America road race series. Like it's still rolling series, but like Moto America is taking charge of these rules now.
Huh.
So now they're actively trying to balance the class,
Yeah.
which is good for me.
Huh.
But like
Cool.
the main rule is it has to be a twin cylinder bike with 125 horsepower or less from the factory. So that's why I can't go out and race like a 1290 Super Duke.
From the factory.
Yeah. So
So
like
they're still putting more power up.
you can like there's rules, like there's no horsepower rule. You can build these motors and stuff. Like there's certain things you can and can't do. But like I said, everyone's always like, why aren't you on a 1290 Super Duke? And I'm like, well, it makes too much power from the factory stock. I
Yeah.
can't ride that bike. The only bike that fits is the 890. Now we have a 990 coming out, so that should be better for me. But yeah, and like Indian has a full factory team. Like they're bringing out a
like
semi truck, and
O'Hara and
yeah, another OG
Jeremy
Supermoto dude.
Yep. Yeah, and like, do those guys? I don't know if I'm thinking of it right. Was O'Hara doing like both the hooligan and the bagger for Indian?
Yeah. So he's a bagger champion, a hooligan champion. Yeah, he's a ripper. He's a nice dude.
Yeah.
I love racing with him. Like he's a
I don't have
badass.
that good of a history with him. Me and him have tangled quite a few times.
Oh, I've seen some Supermoto race videos of him in Sturgis. One where he like crashes and lays down on the track to get the red flag out. Like he did.
He's
a crafty dude.
I defend, like there was a bunch of people pissed that weekend, and I defended him on that one because like I was hurt that weekend, or that whole year actually. I severed my patella tendon and like cracked my kneecap in half. So I was just going to the races and hanging out, and that was right when the 360 Fly cameras came out. and we had one of those, and I put it on Hoffman's bike, and Hoffman comes around this corner up toward this dirt face and just like rear end comes around him, and he just shoots his bike into the side of O'Hare, and O'Hare just gets freaking lawn darted and stuff. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, he crawled back into, like, he walked back in the track and laid down for a red flag. That's bullshit. And I'm like, but look at the video. He fucking smashed. Like, I don't care.
Oh, but yeah, total like flat track move. Like that's like I think he
No,
did some
he's
flat track
like,
stuff.
he rides with so much heart, and that
yeah.
I have a lot of appreciation for him. But no, he cleaned me out at State Line one year, and it broke my leg, and it was like second lap. I was second, he was third, and I think it was I don't know if it's Dustin or Gage out front. And it was just like, he didn't need to make the move, and he's sitting in there and took us both down, and it like twisted my leg around, snapped it and stuff. And he was just like, "Oh, it sucks, man. Drink more milk." And I was just like, "Fuck you."
Oh my
And stuff
God.
like,
That
I'm
sounds
over
like
it now.
just sounds like something he would say though. I could see him saying that. But yeah, he's been super cool to me. Like he races
No,
hard, but like
we're cool now and
he's
stuff.
fun.
But like
Yeah, it's just
him and his teammate Jeremy are really fun to race with.
dude, that dude's a legend. Holy shit. I remember watching him on 500 GP bikes back in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Ridge, isn't it?
Yeah. So that in that drift video I had, like that's the track I was driving in.
Yeah, that
section's
track
fun.
looks cool. Wasn't there a video of Heron getting like, he like runs off on this? Was it the Ridge? Did he like, I don't know if it was like a slow rider
Probably.
did something. Yeah, he has to
know
just ride the Ducati through the freaking weeds. He's all pissed off.
I remember the first time he came up there and rode. First year Moto America came up, they had a test, and he was going off the track so much. And during this test, I'm just like, I was like, I literally was behind him, and he went off the track like twice in front of me. But he didn't crash, so I'll give him that.
Oh yeah,
He's fun to ride with. There's a video of, it's funny, dude. Like so there's a video I just posted a few weeks ago of him and I riding at Adams, and he's like goon riding.
Oh yeah, no, I know
dude, that one down there with his feet sticking off the back of the bike. Dude, it's got like over 1 million.
It's so funny.
It's got over 1 million views. Like I literally was bored one day. I'm like, man, I need to post something. Like I posted this. I didn't think it was that funny, but I'm like, I just need to post something because I need to, do
your stuff.
Post something up. And to this moment, followers keep trickling in. Like it's just, this thing went viral. Like I got like over 1,000 new followers from this video, and some of the comments are kind of funny too. Just some weird like dipshit comments. People that don't know what's going on.
Yeah. See, I love like that. I don't know how well you know Dustin Hoffman, but Dustin's like, in my mind, he's like the gnarliest talent on a supermoto bike. Like he, in my mind, rivals Gage, and maybe that's just because like I'm biased from being teammates with him for so long and stuff. And like Dustin was the only guy Gage was ever like scared of and stuff. But Dustin, you could never get him to just do a heater on a supermoto bike. It was just goon laps, all of practice and qualifying. He'd just be gooning. That's like
yeah, he's got a cool style. Like the few times I've been at the track when he's riding, like that dude's an animal.
Oh yeah.
He seems like he seems like a guy that like if he wanted to, like he could have been like he could have done, like he could have been, whatever he wanted, like with his riding, or like he could have been really big on social media if he was more into posting or like doing edits, because like obviously his riding style and his speed that he has, like he could have done a lot with that if he wanted to. But this is just me. I don't know him very well, but he just seems like the chill dude that doesn't really care what people think.
Yeah, no, he's super humble. Like he's the raddest dude ever and stuff. And you're right. Like he probably, and same thing with McAllister too. Like
yeah, it's
Gage
so weird. Like
and gone wherever he wanted and made a living riding a motorcycle.
Yeah, growing up with not growing up with Gage, but like growing up racing with him, and like even people like Joey Pasquarella. It's like, I don't know if you remember Wyatt Ferris, but like
Yep.
I feel like some people, I'm not naming anybody's names, but like there's for sure people I grew up with that like I think they didn't like me because I was more outgoing and more like involved on social media, and like they'd be like, why does he have this, or why does he have this opportunity, why is he getting this sponsor? And it's just because I was putting myself out there, and people,
Yep.
a lot of these people didn't.
No, I'm the
But
same way. Like I remember Brandon Ward one time. Like I got some Husky support in 2012 when they were like the BMW Huskies, and he was just like, Why did you get that?" And I'm just like, because I talk to him and I write this stuff and I get them this stuff, and they were stoked on me. Like I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, it's just like you got to put yourself out there and like talk to
Yeah,
people, and yeah,
and
it's sometimes it's just as simple as that. But yeah, I see this with so
hot
many people and different types of racing where yeah, there's always these people that are just so gnarly and so good, but they don't know the other half of being a racer nowadays, and that's promoting yourself and talking to
for sure.
people, and you know
Yeah,
I
like
feel
what
like I
can you
do an okay
provide for
job.
sponsors? Yeah. No,
Yeah,
and you do.
there's so many people better than me though. It's like it's funny. Like yeah, some people think like, oh, you're so good at this. I'm like, dude, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, and there's so many people better than me that like I want to be like them, and I'm trying to figure it out. So you know, there's just people doing different things out there, and not that there's a one right way to do it or anybody's doing anything wrong. But
Yeah. And no, that's
yeah,
like just the perception of like I I have a love-hate with social media, you know? Like I don't like to post a lot and stuff, and I really should do more than what I do and stuff, and that's just kind of the game. Like, but I don't know. I remember being like I said when I first saw that video, you and I'm being like jealous when years ago when I saw that and being like, well, what about us? Right? It's like racers get this mentality of like they're owed something because they're going fast on the track and stuff. And it's like, look at me, give me stuff and stuff. Like I'm not gonna do anything in return. I just want stuff, you know. And so that like by posting on social media, by creating content to like give back to these sponsors that are giving to you, so that more people can be stoked on it or whatever. It all works hand in hand. And like nowadays, I see it a lot differently than I used to. Like even Parker Pittman, I think for years, everyone in the AMA Supermoto pits, for the most part, hated him other than his little crew and stuff. And he knew it. He would just rag on us and stuff. And now I love Parker. I
yeah,
can't follow him on social media because then he bugs me. But like I know he has to play the game, and like he kills it. You know?
yeah. No, he has deals, and I'm like, what? Like I don't even have that. Like how did you do that? And so yeah, but it's all about like understanding what a company that you're trying to work with needs, and then if you can meet their needs, then it works for them and it's good for him. So uh yeah, I feel like Parker's somebody about I'll bounce stuff off of or get ideas from, because like both of us are working with Gringer on the electric mini bike stuff, and
Yeah.
but
Those are sick.
yeah, it's like Josh Heron, for example. He's somebody that like social media is just so natural and like easy for him, and like he just like
Click on that
it's
fourth one.
something
That's
that
Andy right there.
it's something that's just like natural, and for some people it's not. Like for me, like I'm trying to figure it out, and social media is constantly changing, and you probably have experience where like you'll post something that you think will be super cool and put all this effort into it, and then it just gets no love. But then something as simple as like that dumb video I
The
posted of
goon
me and
riding.
Josh riding. Yeah, that blows up. And you're like, really? Like there was no effort behind that,
Mm.
and that's what people want to see. So that's the frustrating part of it, like that Hooligana video, YouTube video. Like there was thousands of dollars put into that, tons of hours, and I thought it would be like a video that'd get 1 million views, and I think it has like 25,000. I'm just like, what?
Yeah. It's
Like,
wild how like the algorithms and different stuff work too. It's like a weird world and stuff, but
yeah,
I get it too. It's like part of me wants it to be like that pure like you're talking about, like when you're doing the slides, like your feet are up, your technique's good, like you're like truly showing like the like what I would consider is the right way to ride a motorcycle, you know, and like
Yeah,
that
like
a core enthusiast like that like they'll be stoked on because you're not just like half-assed and that you're not gooned out and different stuff, and then yeah, sometimes that stuff doesn't really matter, and that's like the world we live in where you can do these cool things and it's gone in a day or two,
yeah,
or sometimes it goes viral and then it
yeah.
lives on.
That one in the neon shirt, that's me and Parker there. I was staying with him. Yeah, that like the Supermoto Madness one where I was riding that Supermoto bike and with Brett Q in the video, and that was like every Supermoto racer basically at the Tucson round could do what I did in that video. It's nothing special, but like that type of video, I feel like that resonates a lot more with like kind of the street rider guys, like the average Joe Supermoto type people, not so much like the racers. So like I feel like that's why that video did really well, is just because it was
I feel
something
like
that
that kind of one resonates with racers too, because I mean that was something that I always, maybe it was just me too. Like I always had the idea to like I wanted to do something where it was like a mashup of where you rip through some streets, you go to a track, you hit some jumps, like and combine it all into one. And so that
yeah,
was
I
cool.
guess when I look back at that, I'm just like I've elevated a lot in my riding. So when I look back at that, I'm
Oh,
like,
for sure. Yeah,
oh
you can
man,
see how
like
much more talented you are now than you were
yeah, I
then.
just see like I could do that video totally different, and you know, so it's hard. Video stuff's hard because you always have this idea of what it's going to be, and it's almost never that. I mean, sometimes it also has a lot to do with who's filming it and if they can kind of bring your vision to life. But it can be tough. Tough to produce what you're trying to get.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like that's a real hard thing. It's like what you have in your mind, it's like you need to be the filmer and the talent at the same time, you know?
Have you modded your Gringer, or is it just stock?
I put a shock on it so it has a little bit more ride height, and then I put some ODI bars and grips on it, some
Yeah.
graphics on it. But like as far as like the drivetrain or like
Old
battery and all
PP
that
here
stuff, it's
tried
stock.
old PP here tried to screw him at that Moto Beach Classic. He drained the air out of Andy's tire
Oh
for the main
yeah,
event.
dude. Dude, yeah, the day before we were at Adams, and I was just, passing him down the straightaway like I should. I told him beforehand because he's like, I'm gonna beat you, and we were talking all this crap, and I'm like, dude, you're like
He's such a shit talker.
you're like you're basically like a 7 foot tall dude. Like I weigh way less than you. There's no way. And I was smoking him on the go-kart track, but dude, he beat me in like a heat race. I ended up taking him in the main event still, but like, yeah, I had like 2 psi in my tires.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
And I
I
didn't.
mean, if you crash and DB the tire, that's some bullshit. But
Well, the
that
Dunlops, like
motherfucker.
they're like a stiff carcass. I mean, it's funny because I was checking my tire pressure on my Supermoto bike and on my flat track bike, and Parker like thought for sure I was going to check the tire pressure, so I think he thought I would catch it, but I'm like, it's just my green gear, like I'm not gonna check it, like it's good. I put air pressure in it like yesterday, so I didn't even think about it, and then yeah, like the next day we're like play riding in the street, and he's like, hey dude, check your tires.
Yeah, I think I was over in Italy when it happened, but Alkire was over there with us, and he's boys with Parker, and Parker was watching his dog and stuff while we were out there, and so we were hearing about all this stuff, and I was like, "Are you serious? He did what?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the most
Yeah.
fun I had all weekend in Tucson, was just ripping
Oh, the
laps
Grangers.
on the Grangers.
Yeah, me and my
Fun
wife were
bikes.
us out there in the dirt section, just doing the Lord's work for you guys. Brenda was digging out big rocks out of that landing that like pierced tires and stuff. You
Dude,
guys are out there just having a good time. Psh.
Dude, I ran probably more laps on Granger than I did on my 450.
Man, so the weekend after when I was at that Shasta Supermoto race in Reading, I did their mini bike class, and there was a guy on like a Suron electric bike, and him and I were just battling it out. I was so bummed I didn't run my GoPro because his bike was like Dude, his bike would do like 70 miles an hour on the straightaway, and I'd top out at like 45. So like he would pull me on the asphalt, but then I'd catch him in the dirt. And dude, I was just mobbing the bike in the dirt section, like probably faster than on my 450 in a few areas. And I'm so bummed I didn't get the footage. Like I ended up barely beating him in the heat race, but those are fun, dude. Like me, Parker, Josh Heron, and then like Nikki came out, and we were all battling them together at Apex. It was just like
Yeah, didn't Nikki get one now? Doesn't he have one, or
he's borrowing one, I think, from Alex. I think it's one of
Okay.
Alex's. But dude, it's like going to the go-kart track with your buddies, and you all get these like rental carts. They're all the same speed. It's like the same thing on those gringers when everyone's on the same one. You're like,
Yeah. Probably the story. Can't park there. Hey Simby, pull up Smeg's website. Oh, yeah, or no, where's their 24 calendar? I think it was on Facebook. Oh
Push
no,
left or push right on your
keyboard.
keyboard, maybe. No. Way up.
Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to look and see, because so for next year, as far as Supermoto stuff, we do know some races. Obviously, AMA hasn't posted anything. I've heard rumored that they're gonna do rounds on the East Coast as well as the West Coast with like a runoff championship, which I'm not sure why they would go kind of do a similar format to what SMEC and NAS are doing now, but that's, I guess, what we're doing. But here, so we got NAS qualifiers at round 1 of SMEC in Virginia, NAS qualifier for Wisconsin in June, and then Oakland Valley, which is New York, or it's New York or somewhere up in the Northeast, I want to say. And then Cascadia is going to have another qualifier for NAS, I believe in April is like the tentative date. And then Colorado will have another one, and NAS later in the year. So, Andy, if you can,
that US air track looks sick.
dude, did you ever? No, you were saying you did more like NAS Moto stuff. So you never got to do.
That was like
Shano,
the
did you?
old, yeah, the original NAS Moto, like
Yeah,
back
the
in.
NAS Moto, not
Yep.
NASS.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so cool that like I love the idea of like having Colorado Supermoto, Cascadia, like whether it's Brock's with Supermoto USA. I think they're talking to the guys with Shasta about maybe doing a qualifier. So it's like pretty much anywhere around the country. And then they had guys in Canada. Like this year at NAS, there was quite a few Canadians that came down. And they were like, we came down here for an enjoyable weekend. It ended up being super cold and rainy. And they're just like, we left Canada for the same weather.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
unfortunate.
I was bummed I couldn't go until I saw the weather. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy.
It was cold. It was fun to ride, but yeah, it was fucking cold. Oh my god.
Yeah, like basically like a month prior to that, I had driven from Oregon to Texas and back, so I had enough driving for a while.
And yeah, because you go on to Texas, dude. What's Circuit of the Americas like to ride?
It's cool, man. That track, it's way different than most tracks, just because a lot of American type road race tracks, they're not wide, they don't have paved runoff. So like at Coda, you just feel like there's no consequences because there's so much runoff area and it's all paved. So you just feel like it feels like a video game. It's insane. It's a fun track. It's very different. Like it feels like 3 different tracks in one because like there's a few
So
different parts
huge.
of the circuit that are so different.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's kind of what I'd call a stadium section, like the back, third of the track after the long straightaway. It's like kind of tight and twisty, and whereas like the first part of the track, it's really flowing and fast. So it's
Mhm.
just it's fun because it's very diverse. And
Am I wrong in thinking that like as you dive into turn one, the front end gets like real light, or does it stay pretty well loaded as you climb that hill? Or do you really got to
it
be careful
stays.
there?
That's a really high G-force area because yeah, you're like braking uphill, and you just feel like you're kind of getting sucked into the ground as you're braking up that hill, and you can brake so much later than you'd think because you have that uphill to slow you down.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
Yep,
road
yep.
looks badass.
Dude, yeah, speaking of like a G out, Shano has a section like that where you like kind of you G out so hard in this heavy braking zone, and it's like you can ask so much of the bike because you can just utilize that G force.
Have you done any SMEC rounds, Andy?
No, I pretty much I don't think I've gone further than for a Supermoto race, like probably no further east than Reno. I mean, I've pretty much just done Supermoto races along the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, no, he just said
No. I've raced flat track in Sturgis, but never did Sturgis Supermoto.
yeah, that one. I
Like
mean,
back,
are you going to do the AFT one in the downtown this year? You think? Just because it's
maybe
like a
I did
different one?
have. I had someone reach out who has a bike, so I might try to do that one.
What's that
That'd be
going
a
to look
cool
like?
experience. They're
But
gonna do
it'd
it
be on
kind
a
of like.
twin.
Oh, you do the twins class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the 450 class is so gnarly. Like, I'd probably do. I'd maybe do better in the 450 class, but it's such a tight field. It's like
Oh yeah.
I could be fifth or I could be 35th. It's just like you don't really know. I mean, on a TT, I know I'd be good, but
Oh, Simpy, look up
Was it TT
Ferran
on asphalt?
Cardews.
I think it's gonna be part
Yeah,
asphalt,
it's
part
gonna
dirt.
be like in the downtown, kind of where the Supermoto was, but during the rally, in downtown, like right around that one bar that you guys we got pictures of you guys around those half naked girls.
Yep.
That like 3-tier bar. Uh go to like Instagram. I was thinking about that, like Andy saying the 450 class is so stacked. Because Bronson did the TTs this year, and then there was another guy from Spain that's like gnarly.
Ferran Cardews, yeah,
Yeah, he's so
he's super good
freaking
supermoto guy.
sick, dude. Dude, I got to ride with him in Italy. Oh my god, he came by me like I was behind him going into turn one time, and turn one at Castelletto, it's like crazy technical and stuff, and it's got these bumps, and you go in there and you kind of slide it in, and it's a nice slide corner, but it's really technical. And he went in there just so hot, sideways, knee on the ground, exited so hot, like got air off the curbing, landed, the bike's dancing, shaking, and he's just gone. And I'm like, holy crap. And he's on like he rides for Growl, SGR Honda, and their bikes look unbelievable. They got Tom Scherer just signed with SGR. He left TM.
Oh wow.
But like
Yeah,
this dude's like 6. He's like a flat tracker, but like even he came over here to do like the TTs, and I don't think like he was having super great success at it. And he's gnarly. Like
yeah,
one
it's
of the
been kind of up and
gnarliest
down for
individuals
him.
I've ever seen. I was so blown away by this dude.
Yeah, he's had some races where like he should have won, but he crashed or something weird happened. But yeah, he's a gnarly dude for sure.
Yeah,
But
because
that's the
he's
thing
got
about flat track is it's always changing. So those types of the conditions can catch him out. It's like I've seen him be fastest in qualifying, or there's so many times, like I said, where he's been the fastest guy, but something's changed, and like maybe his setup wasn't right, and that's everything in flat track. But
yeah.
yeah, he's a gnarly dude for sure. I find it interesting that he goes road race style on the asphalt.
Yeah, me too. Because like he's got really good moto technique, where like you don't necessarily see that with flat trackers or road racers, where they got that good proper moto technique, and he's got it. But then it's like
Yeah,
Sky
so I was
Seconds.
there, dude. I watched that. That was so
Oh,
gnarly.
brutal!
Someone crashed in front of him,
Oh
and he just
my god!
endoed over him.
worst case way to endo too.
And you could see the track drops off, and it's like really hard where he landed.
Oh my.
I was in the stands. I was racing there that night. I did the Productions Twins race, and then this main event was right after mine, and I seen that, and I was just like, "What the heck?" One of the gnarliest crashes I've ever seen, dude.
Yeah.
Do you remember seeing the one of Sammy Halbert from a couple years ago?
A crash?
Yeah, like someone's bike was in the middle of the track. This was at the Charlotte half mile, and
Ooh.
you probably have to scroll down a bit. Like,
Dude,
I
what about
literally
all the trouble he's been getting over in Europe with like guys protesting him and shit for like little
Oh
love
yeah,
taps?
for hitting him. Yeah. So this was 2022, so it'd probably be back a ways. I'm pretty sure he's got a video of it. Or if you just search it on YouTube, it'd be super easy to see the video. Yeah, if you just type in Sammy Halbert, Charlotte half mile crash. Charlotte crash. Yeah.
Last race of the season for American Flat Track. Take a look at this. Coming out of the turn, Briar Bauman gets up into the hay bales and goes down, but watch the bike coming behind him. Oh my goodness,
Wow.
Sammy Halbert.
Dude, he
Dude.
came down from so high up.
He literally
Yep,
launched
I'm good.
about
I don't want a flat track. Nope. I'm good.
he launched about 25 feet in the air and flew about 200 feet. And literally, I thought he was dead. And the next night, he goes to the awards banquet. I mean, dude, he flew out of the camera picture. You can't even see him in the video.
Dude,
like,
Go
Yeah,
back,
I'm
please.
good. I don't need to go ride flat track now.
Dude, flat track is so dangerous because this type of situation, and you have no front brake. I mean,
Oh,
Sammy was racing for a podium finish
Yeah.
there. Briar Bauman for American Flat Track. Take a
Oh,
look
come
at
on.
this. Coming
I
out
was
of the turn,
watching
Briar
from
Bauman gets up into the hay
like the middle of the
bales and
track,
goes down,
other
but watch
side,
the
and
bike
dude,
coming
I'm just
behind
telling
him.
you, man,
Oh my
the
goodness,
distance
Sammy
and
Halbert.
height that he launched right there,
Sammy
it was.
racing
you
I've
just
never seen anything like it.
bottom out.
Unbelievable. That dude's so gnarly. You know, one thing would be like a bucket list, like flat track style bike. I'd love to ride Rossi's Ranch.
Yeah, he's over there right now.
Is
They
he?
are having
Oh
that,
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that
that
race that they do.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny. I don't know how much you got. Well, you raced with him that year you did Tucson a couple years ago, Alberto Maserati.
Yep.
He was who we rode for over in Italy because he's running the PMA team. But he's funny. I remember asking him like just standard American questions, like, so if you ridden with Rossi, because like he's Italian, and Ma's just like, oh yeah, but Rossi, he is shit on dirt bike. He is shit. I was like, hell yeah, Maz. Yep. See, there's Bronson's guy that was down there in the bottom right.
Yeah.
Mikey Ham. That was a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's so cool. You got to go over there and do that. I mean, just
Dude. Yeah.
I mean, what was the fans like over there?
It was pretty wild. Like everyone was just like so enthusiastic, and even the other racers were just stoked on Americans being there. Like I don't know how many people came by and like had stories about when they came over and raced AMA back in the day, or just like that they were pumped to have us over. We signed so much stuff. We gave away every spare piece of USA gear we had. Like I traded hat. I got a French hat from Hero, the like world or the European 250 champ and stuff. And it was like my only hat, but I was like, all right, I'll trade it with you. And it was just, and I wasn't sure like how the spectators would be and stuff, but that place filled up and it was cool. And then one of the races, I think it was the second moto.
Go to the S1 GP's video of it.
The bike catching on fire.
No, just of Nations.
Oh, okay. I was like, do they have the bike? Yeah, but I can't remember if it was a during the qualifying day. It might have been during the qualifying. Yeah, it was. It was during Nick's qualifying race. One of the Hondas freaking went down in the sky section, caught on fire.
I
and all
saw
of a sudden,
that.
like there's just like this plume of smoke, and the crowd's just going nuts.
What's Holbacher doing this year?
Um,
Why is he not like? What happened with him in MTR?
I'm not sure. I know Franco's pretty gnarly. Like he's super smart, but he's also like, I don't know. Like I don't think there was anything bad between them or anything like that. But I don't know if Lucas is running his own program or, if I don't know. I'm pretty sure that he's staying on KTM's, but I don't know if that means he's doing his own program. But he's so connected with KTM now that he can probably get factory parts and all that kind of stuff and kind of build out his own program. I'm not sure.
Nice.
Because it is
Yeah,
weird how much stuff's moving around. Like TC4, I thought like Scherer was going to retire because so Bonnell is like Scherer's, like I think Bonnell is whether it's Scherer's like wife's brother or something like that. Like they're like brother-in-laws or something and stuff. So he's like a mini Scherer. Like he's been brought up under Tom's tutelage, and he's gnarly, and he's like the future of S1 probably, other than Lucas. Oh, dude, you know what's wild is Lucas. He reached out and some other people that were pretty connected, like through KTM and other assets, reached out to Red Bull to try to get Lucas on Red Bull. And Red Bull said he's too old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Red Bull's a tough one, man. I've been trying to get connected with them for a while, and like recently I had heard back, and it's like the first time I'd ever heard from them. Because I've emailed them every year for like the last 5 years, so I was actually stoked to get an email back. Like all right,
Like
yes,
progress.
this is a real email. Yeah, like they know they I'm in the system, but no.
Yeah, dude, I've always like said if I could get a Red Bull deal, just retire. I just retire. I'd put the Red Bull helmet on the
Dude, when I had the Rockstar gig, that was sick too, because like
Yeah.
you have Rockstar, Monster, or Red Bull, then all the other sponsors flock to you. They're just like, oh, you're sponsored by them? Like, yeah, we'll sponsor you. Like, it was weird how like when I got a Rockstar deal, support trickled in, and that whole deal went away when Pepsi bought Rockstar at the end of 2020.
And they refigured all of it. Yeah.
They cut like almost all the freestyle guys. They cut all the flat track guys. They got rid of their world partnership with Husqvarna, and they just kept the U.S. relationship with Rockstar Husqvarna.
Yep.
But it was a good 3-year run.
That is sick. I mean, just to have, I don't know, it's just like cool to have.
Yeah, it was sick when I did X Games Flat Track in 2018. Like Rockstar, like they rented out a whole hotel
that's
for
right.
other
They
athletes.
did it at X Games. Huh?
Yeah, X Games Flat Track, and like on they wrapped like the front of the hotel with like all the athletes, and it was just like a sick experience. Like I felt like a rock star.
Man, I don't watch X Games anymore.
It's gonna get slicker. You have to finish up front, and you have to take a really late
What do you mean?
Like it seems like everything is kind of like a lot of the sports, like flat track, Supermoto. A lot of them, like I just want to watch Big Whip. That's about it, you know.
Dude, quarter pipe, high air. Oh my god, that is the gnarliest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
That's pretty gnarly.
Like, I'm afraid to watch that because I feel like someday somebody's gonna really get fucked up on it.
While Josh was filming this, I was standing on the sideline just being like, hey Josh, and throwing middle fingers and shit.
That gravel?
Dude, it was brutal. That was the gayest dirt section I've ever ridden in my life. It was so gnarly. It was like so like square edged out, and then like had this loose crumble on top. It was so sketchy. It was so gnarly. And like in free practice on race morning, like it was so wet and then it was so gnarly to ride fast through. And Bonnell and all the top dudes, they're still on the same second lap. Like, I think all of us American dudes were like 2 or 3 seconds off of our race pace in that morning warm up because the dirt section was that sketchy. And like this dude, Steve Bonnell, he's still on the same second as he did in the race. This sky section was so much more technical than I thought it would be. Like, it was so tricky to figure out.
Looks tight.
It's
Very tight.
really tight. And you, like, I would kind of, it from like all the moto and stuff, it's like they come off a lip with a lean and I expect it to like drift, you know? And it doesn't because you're like hooked up. So you have to train yourself to not, like, I'd pick the bike up and keep my body leaning in, but I'd pick the bike up to like try to bind the chassis from drifting, you know, or slipping, and it wouldn't. So then at the end, like, I think they'll follow these guys through it, but you go in, you hit this table, you rip into this face of this double. It's like mid corner, and you be standing up, dragging your toe off the face of the asphalt, land, be dragging your foot through these bumps, and then like sit down over this hump to absorb it, and then pin it into this tabletop face and scrub it and stuff. It was so fun to ride, but like to go fast, you'd lose so much time. If you missed a mark or you like push wide over one of these bumps, you'd lose so much time in there. So like right
I played
here,
this on a video game.
yeah, dude.
I think maybe it was on a Rossi video
no,
game.
like
or
Ride 2, Ride 3, somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, this looks like so much fun.
Dude, it was. But it was so technical. And like one of the practice days I got to do with Maz, we went out there and just did 20 minutes just circling the sky section.
Just now coming back out onto the main part of the circuit. One last bump to contend with that you can basically slingshot across if you get it right. Now back onto the
right there, it was like, it kind of fell away. But the first day I got there, Nick and those guys were getting ready to leave for Matei. But Nick had brought an Xbox out to Italy. And so we were just on Ride 3, and Nick's, because we're like riding Castelletto, and he's kind of like, you want to kind of like off this curbing point here and like shoot to this curbing, wide open.
Oh,
he almost died.
As well, especially if it's been raining, if it's gotten rutted. As you can see, the surface is a little damp at the moment. Quite a nice wide dirt.
It got so chattered out, and then this is loose stuff on top.
oh
Was,
man,
I was bummed we didn't have a better dirt section, but
Still looks
it was
better
still
than
so cool.
Cascadia.
Well, I feel like Cascadia in Washington, Oregon usually have better stuff than what
No, I meant
the one example we rode, but yeah. This corner here is the most deceiving technical corner ever. You could go into it like so fast, like pretty much they were just like, yeah, you don't really run your brake there at all. And you want to be like on the brakes.
Are kept busy on Saturday by the qualifying races. Steve Bonnell took a dominant victory in the Ryder Group.
Yeah, that turn one is techie.
Using the #1 plate. He was originally slated to be in the junior team for France, but moved up to replace
Sonar.
Thomas Charret. Further back,
it's a completely different style and of everything than what we have here.
Yeah, dude, like,
there's really, like, obviously there's a few tracks that have these sky sections in Europe, but like, is there any track in the US that kind of resembles what they race on over there?
no. I mean, Miller probably has like the same level of quality asphalt, but not the same.
The that track, was it like that street race they did, was it Germany?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Like
that
Snowman
kind of
Road.
that kind of reminded me of more like a, you know, kind of something
Yeah, like
we have
Sturgis
over here.
vibes. Yeah, I kind of expected Bronson and Nikki to do a little better there because of it kind of having like a more American style look to it. But those dudes over there are just freaking gnarly. Like that dude 65 Bushberger, he's like a top 5 podium threat dude over in S1. He crashed in the warm up and separated his shoulder. thought he was out, and so he still lined up for the race. And the first lap of that first moto is me and Nick, and like he's struggling and he's just going backwards, and I pushed him wide in the sky section going in, and then later in the moto that motherfucker comes by me, and I'm like, isn't he injured? Because he was on Hallbacher's team, and then their other guy had crashed on the first lap, and so then like Andy was just like, well, fuck, I was the guy that was going to have the bad result, and now I gotta go. So he like runs on adrenaline, comes through, and he even caught Nick. Finished like 16th. I finished 22nd. He caught and passed Nick too. And then he didn't run the second one.
Teams from 15 nations and 3 continents were set to compete for glory.
Lucas fucked up on the day qualifier, and his I think he was rider 3 category, and he battled with San Martin, and he took the white flag as the checker and like pops a wheelie and celebrates, and San Martin goes by, but then Lucas like shit and like tries and ended up giving Italy like the win in that class. So good.
Look at that stash.
Dude.
As they fight their way through the pack.
Can you announce anything that you're doing? You've been hinting at stuff lately.
Yeah, so next week I'm just getting ready to like announce my plans for Moto America Super Hooligans, which really isn't news, but I'm working with a new shop, a new builder. I'll have a new person working on my crew. So just kind of like doing the same thing, but kind of some new people behind me. So it'll be a big change up for me because I've only ever worked with one shop and only had the same crew chief like basically my whole career. So kind of starting over in a sense. So it's a little intimidating, but at the same time it's kind of exciting as well.
Oh yeah.
And obviously KTM is helping them out there, and I wish they would do a factory team. It's so weird how like the KTM dynamic works. From my understanding, it kind of has to come as a decision from Austria, and
yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me, right? Because like KTM's whole thing is ready to race, and they, they're into every racing. They have a team in off-road, they have a team in enduro, they have a team in supercross, motocross, road. Not road racing in the States, but like they have, MotoGP teams, all this stuff. And it's like the Duke, you think of KTM, and if you think of the street bikes, you think of the Duke. And it's like, this is the only series in the world that has a class that offers, the Duke an opportunity to race, and they don't. I'm just surprised that they
I think you
yet.
said it right there though, is MotoGP. I think that takes all their budget.
Yeah, well, it's just like you think about how much it costs to do all this stuff. Like the fact that they had a factory flat track team, but not a factory road race team when they sell street bikes. Like KTM, they sell dirt bikes, but they don't sell flat track bikes, right? Like
yeah, that's a very good.
Flat track is very niche, and it's such to me, it's such a smaller sport, or like road racing's a lot bigger, and it's a worldwide sport. And no offense to flat track people, but like, yeah, I'm just surprised that they would do that. Obviously, they're not doing it this year, but I'm just surprised that they don't have a road race team. And I've talked to people about it. I've talked to Phil more about it, and it's just
because I think like HMC ran it back in the day, and there who ran the Supermoto team. So it was like kind of Mitch had this like budget and this freedom from KTM where he was like kind of had free running. I'm not sure if that went away, if Mitch didn't want to do it anymore. I'm not sure how.
Well, I think it had
what
something to
changed
do
there too.
KTM was like, we're not going to make this superbike anymore. They're too dangerous. Like that was, I think it was like a KTM decision. Like they were like, you know what, we're not going to produce this bike anymore.
Wow.
Which is kind of funny, right? But
and then they released those new ones look pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, and that's the same engine as what's in my my Duke. It's the 890. So they're coming out
Oh,
with
is it?
like,
Okay.
yeah. So they're, it's a 130 horsepower bike. It's not like a 180 horsepower, 170 horsepower bike like the original RC8 was. But yeah, I think that program, it wasn't like an in-house thing like down in Marietta where like they operate their
Right.
supercross and off-road teams out
Yeah.
of. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a real missed opportunity, but I'm stoked to have their support still. I mean, they do a lot for me, but man, it'd be sick to like have
No,
a
you're
real
right. Like,
factory
I
team
think
and
it would be a good
yeah,
avenue
like
for them to really promote that line.
it's been huge for me because like in the since I've been racing their bikes, like it's really helped my social media grow. Like I've built like a Duke fan base. Like there's people all over the world that message me on a daily basis that are KTM Duke enthusiasts and fans, and they're just stoked to see the Super Hooligan class because they got these bikes, but no one races them. So like
Yeah.
there's a Facebook group called, I don't know if this is the exact name, but it's basically a 790, 890 KTM group owners club, and there's like 50,000 people in it, and I'm like the face of this group. Like I'm their background picture. They're always like,
Your spokesperson.
they're like, well, what's Andy have on his bike? People will ask like,
Yeah.
what exhaust should I get? And they're like, post up my YouTube video.
Yeah,
So it's like cool.
and that's where like
It's
you being sponsored is like a good, like a company can get a return on their investment from you and stuff.
oh,
by
dude,
having
like
that.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like I got the bike when it came out, and the next year there's a dozen people at my local track day riding that bike, and now there's all these people racing them in the series, and I was the only dude, and
Yeah.
so they definitely noticed it. But yeah, like I said, they've done a lot to help me out. Like I'm super grateful. But yeah,
Can
it's
you
just
can you put a bug in
it's
their ear and get them to bring that 890 SMT over to the States? Because I want one.
it's in the you talking like the touring bike, like what Lucas was riding?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in dealerships. I was at a
Are
dealership
they?
2 days ago.
I heard
Yeah.
they weren't going to import them to the US.
No, they're there.
No
I just
way.
saw one 2 days ago, the
I need
890
one.
SMT. Dude,
I
it's a
need it.
cool bike. It's a cool bike.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I love KTM's, man. Like when you were asking
Me
me
too.
about the
They're so
bagger thing
quality.
earlier, it's like it'd be a tough sell for me to do that just because I'm so like embedded
Yeah.
with the KTM brand now. So
Yeah.
hopefully someday things will kind of come to fruition and maybe they'll be a legitimate KTM, effort. But
Yeah. I've always
yeah,
kind of
nothing.
wondered the same thing for like Supermoto. It seems like because it's kind of like you were talking about with flat track and stuff, where Supermoto is like a weird thing where no one makes a bike for it. You have to build them out. So the the factories are less like into like doing that. But then KTM does sell it. But then I think also because they sell it, they don't need to because they freaking dominate like the grids.
Yeah, it's such a niche thing, but yeah, the road racing thing's totally different, right? Because those are street bikes; they can sell those. Like
Yeah.
it seems like it could be a similar model to like the motocross program, right? And
Yeah.
like I said, KTM they're so into racing, so this is the one thing that they don't really do, and that's road racing in the U.S. But I think I think that will change one day, and I'm kind of like on the front line of trying to get KTM back into road racing in America. And yeah, kind of what like my whole dynamic with them is more on the marketing side of things. So like, all the factory race programs, like that's a motorsports department thing, and I'm not involved with them. So I'm just dealing with marketing people and um
That's probably
so
honestly
just
how you want it, so you can run your own program and do whatever races you want to. Because I think that is like the one downside that people don't see from the factory side of stuff is those guys are kind of you're stuck into like where you might be getting paid well, you might have the best equipment, but you're also like this is the series you're gonna run. This is what you're doing. See, it's not as easy to go like take an opportunity like say you had on the MV road racing this year or
Yeah, well that
whatever it
was
is.
that whole thing came about because of KTM, because KTM is now majority owner of MV, and KTM USA is in charge of dealer network and distribution for MV. So that's who gave me the bike was KTM. So that was kind of a cool opportunity, but it's also such a weird thing where like they have this ownership stake, but the marketing thing is still run by MV. So like there's no marketing dollars aside from allotting me a bike to use to go run that program, and like there's no real direction or like
Yeah.
they're basically just like, here's a bike, here you go, like
Have fun.
that's it. And so there's no, as of right now, there's no more plans for me to do anything with that, just because it's like kind of this awkward situation where MV's not really driving us in any sort of direction, and KTM, it's not their brand, so it's not really like their decision to, I don't know. We don't even really know. I talk to people there and they don't even really know. Like I said, it's just kind of like a free ball deal right now. But yeah, anything KTM related I can ride and promote, I do. But obviously, like I have a ZX10 1000 that I've done some club racing and Moto America stuff on, and I'm also riding the Gringer. So it's a fun gig, but man, it would sure be nice to just be the rider and just get to show up and not have to worry about anything else, Like there's always two sides, right? Like
for sure.
It's both sides have their pros and cons, but man, I just like right now I'm getting ready for Daytona and the logistics are so expensive. Like to get an Airbnb, like the cheapest one I could find for the 5 days I'm going to be there is $2,000.
Damn.
You can't, there's nothing cheaper. Like hotel rooms are all, $400, $500 a night, and I'm booking this 2 months in advance, which for, I guess, bike week, maybe it should be done earlier than that, but like, it's insane. Like it's going to probably be a $8,000 trip when it's all said and done, because I'm paying somebody to haul my bike. They're hooking me up. I'm paying them like $1,000 to drive from California to Daytona and back. But flights are going to be insane, so it's like it's tough being a privateer. But I'm super lucky I get to do this, and that I have sponsors that help me go and do this because it's not cheap, as you know.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
That kind of brings me back to why I love Supermoto, right? It's like it's more affordable. It's not so high
The tire
maintenance,
bill
high
on
stress.
the weekend.
Yeah, like it's just like it's my like me coming out to Tucson and do those events, like it's like therapeutic for me, because it brings me back to why I love racing and just having fun, right? It's hard. I don't have to say it. You guys understand it because you race it. So
yeah, no, it's
I want to do more Supermoto this year. So that's some news, I guess. You'll see me at more Supermoto races.
Heck yeah.
Shoot
Well, thanks a lot, dude, for coming on. And I feel like we could keep going with you because there's so much stuff to get into. Like, you got a pet zebra, bro.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna try to ride her this year. I've sat on her, but dude, so that's just what I love about Super Hooligans, man. Like they just have humor, that was my picture on their website. Yeah, but yeah, no, just it's cool to come on, and I appreciate you guys including me on this, and yeah.
No, for sure, man. That you're a good person to have in the sport, and it's definitely good.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, hope to see you guys at a race sooner than later. I guess I'm just waiting to see what this AMA schedule is going to be.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we all are.
Did you get any
definitely shoot for NAS, because that's going to be the shit, boy. The payout, that was the best payout all year, was NAS too.
Yeah, and that's great too, with it being a qualifier and like kind of a one event type deal. That works great for me too.
Yeah. And I'm not sure, we'll see here shortly. I was talking to Jay the other day as far as like the venue's going to be announced, I think, in the next month or two, he said. As far as, I'm not sure if it's going to go back to Oklahoma or be somewhere else. The Oklahoma track would be a sick venue if it was dry. But, like, obviously, the weather's one of those things where sometimes you get screwed, so.
The way she goes sometimes. Yeah. Hopefully there'll be like, sure there'll be some people from my area or from California that I can send a bike with. So that's kind of, you know, the thought in my head is sending a bike with somebody that's hitting the rounds, and I can try to show up to them when I can. And but I think the way kind of with what I have planned at the moment, there's a lot of gaps in my schedule that I can fill with stuff like AMA Supermoto. So feeling optimistic about it.
Hell yeah.
So get some, see who else we can
maybe
get out,
Wisconsin, if trying to pull up Moto America's calendar and see if it aligns with maybe you'll be out in Wisconsin and can hit a Supermoto and a road race or something.
Yeah, that track looks really cool too.
Yeah, both tracks, the one at Road America's sick, and Shawano is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's Shawano. That's the one I really want to go to. But yeah, if any of you guys ever come up for anything Cascadia related, it'd be cool to link up and do some riding with you guys. And like I said, that Pat's Acres track that we saw some video at, you know, hopefully we can get something going out there. I've been talking to I'm really good friends with the owner of that track, and like I've had some practice days and stuff I've organized out there. But we really want to try to get a race back out there at some point, and so I'm going to try to help facilitate that. So I don't know if there'll be anything major this year, like maybe a local race or something, but like I was trying to work with the One Motorcycle Show, which is like one of the biggest motorcycle shows in the country, to do a Supermoto race as part of their show, because they've always done like a flat track race, like that heat race, flat track race we watched earlier. That was part of the one show, but that's like an early or a mid-April thing, and Oregon's always kind of iffy that time of year. So preferably if we can get something out there that would be like a destination race to track guys like you, probably would want to try to put that in the summertime when it's safe.
Yeah. Super wet out there.
Yeah, but cool, man. Appreciate it, you guys. I'll catch you later.
Oh yeah, thanks, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yep, take it easy.
Tell Craig to cut it out, Johnny. Get out of here, Craig.